Guys, listen up. As you get older, the best way to continue to look young, exuberant, and vibrant is to continue to take care of your skin. That's why I'm excited to have Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. You heard me talk about them before, and you're going to continue to hear me talk about them because I believe in their products and the positive impact that they have on every man's life. Hanley makes taking care of your skin so easy. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing that you don't. Every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. Lapeef family, I must admit, skincare wasn't always something I always focused on, but since I started using this system, I've seen improvements in the way my skin looks and feels. And you don't have to take my word for it. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers from around the world. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer, and a PM moisturizer. In addition to amazing skin, members of Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off retail price, the ability to customize your box, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click that first link in the description and you'll get 30% off the first box plus the free gift. Seriously, that's an amazing deal. Even though it's too early, as I often say, it's never too late. Click that link and get started today.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Trigger Mike. Welcome to Uncomfortable Convos. This is a new little rendition we're doing, but yeah, Sunday night. I see a lot of people streaming, but we got special energy tonight. What's going on, Miss Polly and Casey? How y'all doing this evening?
Wonderful.
Good. Yes.
I bet. Let's get into it. So, shout out to the sponsor, Teach Hanley, 30% off along with a free gift. The link is down in the description. Some of y'all just got paid on Friday, so no reason not to invest into your skincare for men. And Christmas is coming up. If you need a Christmas gift, not only can you grab that Teach pack from Teach Hanley, we also have Assured Man Naturals. This is something new worked on by Lapeef himself and Sugar Curls. You know, our lovely Sugar Curls salon over here in Houston, Texas, always cooking up that good stuff. I think a lot of people actually use their products. Look at some of the black hair care products you're ordering. It might say Sugar Curls on there. So make sure you grab that Assured Man Naturals beard products. I think JR dropped the link the other day. If it's not in this stream, it's definitely in another one. And he will be dropping that info for you. So yeah, if you want to get your beard nice and tight, looking like JR. I don't think I've grown a beard to match his yet. So he's the beard model. Don't look at mine. I keep mine, usually a little longer than this, but I had a conference last week. So I like to, I don't take no chances, for work. So I cut mine down all the way down. But yeah. So salute to everybody in the chat. Thank y'all for coming. We're going to get it started. Who do we got in the chat? Dead Pill Reacts. What's going on? Miss Polly saying, what's up? MS Best. What's up? What's up? Quincy, my man. Thank you for coming through this evening. Yeah, I know y'all like Trigger Mike late nights. Last week we had Dee Dee on. She said she'll be late. But either way, we're going to get it right into it. We got good company tonight. So I wanted to do this. The men that come up on this show, on the Trigger Mike show, and on the Lapeef Network in general, when we drop that link, they go bananas. We start, dominating the conversation. And one thing I've been accused of, and I do listen to criticism if people didn't know, is that we don't get the woman's perspective often. And I think when the men start to dominate, the women that are in the chat don't want to come up. So I figured, hey, how about we get some ladies on to talk and give their perspective on topics, because it is valuable, before we let any men come up. How does that sound, y'all?
I'm with it. Let's go.
Let's do it. So the first topic of the night is when the woman makes more than her man. So the show, the overall topic for tonight is patriarchy versus matriarchy. These are going to be topics that are tailored, and basically let's explain what both of them are through some of the scenarios that we see in modern time. All right. So the right to vote, the access to work, the no fault divorce, all of it stems from either the going against a patriarchy or moving toward a matriarchal, matrilineal style system. All right. So definitely we're going to watch this video real quick, and then we're going to get into it. Where did I put that video? Oh, that video definitely disappeared, but let me get that right now.
Perspective, I think we have a pretty big gap.
And so then what's your salary versus what's your salary, Bailey?
So I'm making between like $300 to $350 a year.
Good girl. That's what we like to hear. Sorry, no offense.
Yeah. And I'm making 70 a year, but there will be bonuses and, returns, but like the business hasn't been lucrative yet. We just opened them.
And I think I pressure him a lot to be like, all right, like what's the plan? Like share that with me so that like we can work towards whatever, you want to be making.
Yeah, and I think that as a woman, it is hard to sort of grapple with paying more in the relationship.
The opposite of like every rap song.
Every rap song, 100%. How often do you meet a partner who makes exactly the same amount as you? That's crazy. And I think that partnership is never going to be 50-50.
Now, let's be real. That's a hell of a whole lot of a difference. That's a hell of a whole lot of a difference. But we'll start with you, Miss Polly. So They said she makes anywhere between 300 and 350,000.
Oh yeah.
Make so when the woman makes more than her man, what are your thoughts? How is that going to turn out?
I'll be honest. In most situations, there's going to be a power difference where it's like a big difference between the man and woman, because in the roles that we have in society that have already been in place, that's not the right structure. And a lot of times when you're head of finances in your family, that comes with certain things. The power to say no, being able to make more decisions and things like that. And so when you have that on the shoe on the other foot, it kind of changes that dynamic. And for a female in that position, it also means that her mindset towards her partner is going to be a little different. Maybe talking down to them, maybe even not even on purpose. Being able to say like, hey, you know what, I make more money, and maybe then I should be able to dictate how these bills or these things should go, and kind of brush off what her partner's going to say about things, and that can make him feel less of a man. So it's going to be a very fine line and battle between them for a while. So I think it'll be like a big mess basically, but not in all cases, but for the majority, yes.
Okay. Casey.
So that's a big gap, but I see in the chat like everybody's like, what in the world does she do? 350 and he's at 70. The way she turned to him and said, "Well, I would like to know like what your plans are." It kind of sounded like a mother talking to her son that's trying to figure out what he wants to do in life. So I didn't get relationship at all from that. The thing about it is I'm trying to refrain from having a huge opinion, because I would like to know, number one, is that even their relationship even real? It seems a little, I don't know. But number two, how did they come together is the second thing that I'm wondering. Because if that's going to be a problem for you, you just don't make that much money overnight, right? You have to be on some type of projection for those types of figures yearly. So I'm like, okay, how did they get together? And then is this kind of like her last ditch effort for a family type of thing? Like, I'm just going to grab me a man right quick. Or was their relationship really based off love and their connection, and she believes in him leading her? If that's the case, just like Miss Polly said, she needs to check herself, number one, in how she's talking to him. Okay, that's one thing. Number two, you made the decision to be with that man making 70K. Or he mentioned something about a business, so maybe he might have like a startup or something that may be on a projection for more. So with that being said, the understanding had to be somewhere when they got together. So I would just hope, overall, Mike, what you're saying, the topic, when women make more, I believe it needs to be an understanding. Okay, if there's this huge, like enormous gap as far as money coming to the household, what is the understanding? That should not change the dynamic of him being the head of the household and her being, in submission and following and standing by his side. That's just more money for the household, is how I feel. It shouldn't be any different.
Yeah, I do agree with Casey, because it's like the idea of like we put our money into a pot and then we use our money to then further our advancements and financial, decisions. That should still be the mindset, and then you should still be able to provide those roles that you agreed upon in the beginning.
For sure. Now, what I like to say all the time, and we're going to start a Monday show at some point called Married in Real Life, is that we got to start talking about what goes down in real life. A lot of the times we're going to say, oh, a woman shouldn't make more than her man. But let's pause and realize how we got here. We got here because women got exactly what they asked for. And I need all my mathematicians in the chat to step up really quickly. There is something called GDP, gross domestic product. There are only a certain amount of corporations, and there is a finite amount of money in the United States of America that can be made in the public and private sector to be distributed amongst individuals as income. So if women came into the workforce in mass, there is no way men could make what we used to make, at least most men. You asked for a piece of the pie, not a new pie. You divvied up what was already here. Some people are going to have more, some people are going to have less, whatever. That is the way we needed to look at this and the way women need to look at it. You got exactly what you asked for. Now, another point I want to make. People who are married in real life, if you are married, and especially like somebody like me, let's say, who's married to an educated woman. Now, I'm a bit of a cheat code because my wife can't treat me like that. It don't matter how much money I make. But I think she knew Nigerians are a bit, you don't bark at us like that. We gonna bark back. I'm in that whole thing right there. But a lot of my family members started off like that. And what it is that you need to find somebody that matches your work ethic. And a large part of your courtship process is talking about what your individual dreams are and how to facilitate it. At least half of my either play cousins or real cousins, the people that are here in the US, the woman made more or the man set her up in a way to make more for a certain time in their marriage or relationship. I have an uncle who sent his wife went to medical school, college and then medical for upwards of 8 years. He took care of the whole house as a cab driver, right? She became a doctor. All of a sudden, they start upgrading little by little. Within 3 years, they went from the same apartment complex with us to a big old ranch style house in North Carolina. And then all of a sudden, the money she's making, he's starting his little international shipping business. Now he's a millionaire international shipping tycoon. Okay, so this is how these things. Not once did she ever try to change the dynamic of their relationship or try to make him compromise on what was their marriage before she had that money. I think that is representative of a serious glitch we have in our society where, women tend to use money as a bargaining chip for, changing the dynamics of the relationship. I think it's kind of sad. What do y'all think?
I think if you're equally yoked, like you're saying, this vetting process for picking your mate is everything, right? And when you're equally yoked, it doesn't say equally financed at the moment. That's not a part of being equally yoked. It goes back to morals, values, ambition, goals, life goals, all those things, family, being aligned. So when as a woman, I feel like when you're marriage minded, that one pot is what matters the most. You're not thinking about, okay, you got to pay raise. Okay, so I need to get, like, it's not a tit for tat. It's not a dance of who can make the most and who made the most this year versus the last 2 years. And you're doing all of this. You're not that a marriage minded woman is not doing that. She's thinking about what is coming into that household, whether it's just her and her husband or her, a husband and children, whether they're caretakers for elderly parents. You're thinking about what, as a unit, the two of you, what kind of powerhouse can you be for your extended family, for your household, and all of this. If I'm making more, you're making more. It just doesn't make sense, and women forget. It goes back to, I think Kevin Samuels used to talk about it a lot. You want to make all of this money and you want to use it as a precursor to choose your husband, and then when you have kids, you don't want to work. Like, it was like,
but let me speak on that real quick. So,
like, it was just dance.
I agree with Anissa says, I don't think any woman wants to be in the position of breadwinner. No, you don't. No, I don't think any woman actually wants to be. And because they don't want to be, I think women need to understand there are two things at play here. Women have to change the way they think about dating, marriage, and relationships when you make a lot of money And I think a large part of it is that you need to recognize who you are as a woman. You need people holding you to account to say you're a woman. Don't be out here choosing like a man chooses. Don't be using money as a thing to determine what kind of man you should have. You can always choose a man who's going to stay out and work, but there's one thing I want all ladies who make money to consider. You rarely, okay, I've never actually seen a 60-something-year-old female lawyer trying a case in a courtroom because she don't want to practice law that long. Okay, so very few women outwork their men. What we start to see on the charts is that women significantly dwindle in work productivity like around the age of like 45. It's like, I got other things to do. I got, so they start to develop different interests. They start to become more interested in their children's lives, so on and so forth. So whatever you're making, understand that you're not going to be making that forever. And I forgot what someone told me, and this was actually statistically proven. He said the reason why men tend to go up with age is because we tend to work jobs of necessity. And with that necessity, you gain experience. Then it's a hierarchy where you now become the top of the totem pole. But women tend to work jobs of luxury. And I was like, oh, and what's the first thing to go when the economy goes? All the luxuries. So whatever she's doing, and I know if she's like a realtor, oh, you can forget it. She's not making that money. She's gonna make that money for a few 2-3 years, and then she's gonna have a downslide. So that's why as women, you got to play the game differently and really think about it that way.
Yeah, I like to how you. Oh, sorry.
No,
I did like how you said, Casey, about the yoke. I think that's like the number one reason I hear women say, "Oh, we have to be evenly yoked," and on and on. And I'm like, they're actually trying to say they want a man not to make less of them, and they just keep saying that, and that's not what it's for. When we say we want to be evenly yoked, the real definition is to be on the same path as someone, being aligned in your vision of where your life is going. Not, oh, I just want them to make sure they make enough money to support me. Somewhere, I will say, I don't know exactly where, somewhere probably like late 80s, somewhere around the 80s there, it seemed like there was this transition of women trying to find this security blanket. And that is where the finances took upon itself for us to try to get this security, to provide our own security, so we didn't have to rely on someone else to do that for us. And when you did that, of course, yeah, it's wonderful to provide your own security, but most women, they're in their mind trying to be two parts of a circle. You're trying to provide for your children, do things, raise them and all that, and now you're trying to also provide the security by yourself. All these things, and it's very overwhelming. And I think that's where a lot of this kind of transition took place. Now everyone's kind of trying to be, this man and woman at the same time. And, even if you're not, biblically, I try to stay off it. But like, if you were thinking that, we're supposed to be two parts, you can't do it by yourself. So regardless of how much you try, we all can fill a role for a short period of time, but we all crash. That's just in society itself. We all need each other to become something better. And I think also, because we're in America, just say what it is, we're always taught to be individualist. And most countries out here, everywhere else, everyone works as a group. Families work as a group. There's so much more group mentality, and those groups are successful. But we're trying to be individualist, and then we're failing, and we don't understand why. It doesn't make sense.
So let me ask y'all. Again, people that are married in real life are going to understand this is what your finances can do. He makes more, you make more. Hey, babe, I got a new job. There's a new opportunity. He makes more. Oh, I got a new job. I got to do everything. She makes more. That is real life of equally yoked companions. That is real working companion. This is what it does. So, I really, caution women on this whole, he has to make more than me. But this role of a provider, do you think we need to reimagine it? Because if women are calling on men to step out of the 50s I think they need to start taking their own advice. The term sole provider meant men were the only ones working. By default, we were the provide. Like, you took care of the children because there was no work for you to do other than, labor in somebody's house. Men went out and worked in the coal mine and did anything to bring food back to the table. Women lobbied to have it this exact way for open access to the labor market. So should they step out of the 50s? Am I wrong for that? Should they step out of the 50s and adjust the term provider? What do y'all think?
So that's where I get crossed up at. It seems that people go back and forth with how they want men to be, how they want men to still be traditional, but then they don't want any parts of traditionalism. So I completely agree. We would have to really, I think people who get it. I think married couples who are really moving towards modern times. As a new mom, we kind of have a piece of the past and the future, right? Because my husband allowed me to stay home, and took care of me through 2 pregnancies and took care of our home through 2 pregnancies twice. Um, and then I did baby bonding after the pregnancy. So I took off work while I was pregnant at some point. And then through up until he was about 7 months old. So almost like a year apiece with both kids. So that's how, like, literally those finances, like, okay, we were here and then I just completely dropped out of the I dropped completely out of the finances and my contribution to our family. And, thank God I have an amazing husband who supporting me in doing that. But, in 2023, moms, we're working, like, we're getting it, so having that privilege to be able to do that, I don't take that lightly. But I also love being able to contribute. Yes, I'm college educated, and contribute with my career and putting my money to our pot, because that's what it is. It's our pot. And so, the new modern couples that are working and doing it together, but still have those traditional foundations of, my husband is the head of our household. He's he's telling me, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going in the future. And I get on board with it. And I'm like, I make it happen as a woman would. Nurture, give me the seed, and I'm going to water it and do whatever I need to do to make it pop, because I have those skills as a young mother and wife. And so people need to come to 2023. That whole 350 to 70K, that's a lot of money. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Really, what are we talking about? That is a lot of money together. So y'all make it work. It shouldn't be a power dynamic, right? Because it should be one pot, and y'all move into happily ever after, if that's the case, if that's what you want. But a lot of people don't want that.
So, interestingly enough, I tried to think just now, when was that such a large gap between me and somebody? And month 3 of me moving to Houston, I was at Belvedere. In fact, I went to Belvedere every Friday. It's a club out here that used to have a Nigerian night. It was dope. And there was a doctor. She's actually a huge doctor. She was a doctor / associate professor at Baylor College of Medicine. And because I was suited and booted, right? She came up to me, good conversation. So on our first, I think we went on 2 or 3 dates, if I can remember, she was like that, doing the thing where trying to figure out if I was somebody who would be insecure with the amount of money she made, and seeing the things that I saw growing up. It never once crossed my mind. But I always, like, even as older now, and I married, somebody else, in the back of my mind, as I watch videos such as this, I'm like, what would my life been like? She moved to New York. She got a job and just up and moved to New York, which is another way to think, like, oh, I hope you didn't think my ass was moving with you. I just moved here. You see what I'm saying? But I always wonder, would this lady have treated me like that woman treated this guy? Now, mind you, not a lot of people are making 300, 350K. So if a man has to just understand that he's not going to, we don't actually care, but we do marry people that are equal to us, meaning equal in education, equal in work ethic. If you go look at the numbers, people are actually marrying people like that, because look at how y'all meet. Right? Look at how y'all meet. People with personal training businesses usually marry each other. Female personal trainer, male person, so on and so forth. Doctors marry lawyers, that type of thing. So you marry somebody who already has something going on. I just don't know why we feel the need to start treating people different after the fact. I think it's very detrimental to society when we make money the measurement for how we treat people. Ms. Polly, what you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Um, like I guess, well, just gaining more knowledge and understanding of just myself and my relationships I'd like to have, that actually is not the forefront. It used to be, but it no longer is. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that, I'm in realization that, when I get to a certain age, whoever I'm going to be partnered with or whatnot, is at the end of the day, it's like the connection I have with the person, because that money is not going to mean too much when we're rolling in a wheelchair trying to figure out, or what we're going to eat for breakfast the next day. It's totally different in my mind of, I want to have a connection with someone. I want to enjoy my time with someone when I get older. I want to be able to just reminisce with them and enjoy them. And the money, even though it's nice, yeah, you could enjoy living in a nicer house, whatever. But most people, when they get to a certain age, they're not trying to live in no giant house. They ain't trying to run the streets, run all over. They're just trying to have a relaxed, regular, day out with, whoever they're with, and get a routine. That's what, most people do when they get to a certain age. And that's what I'm kind of looking for. So in my mind now, when I picture someone in a financial situation, I don't put it at the number one priority. Not saying it's never a priority, but it isn't like the first thing I'm looking at. I'm looking at more of a, are we on the same, like you said, playing field when it comes to the idea of where we're going in life? What goals are we trying to meet? Or we're all going in the same direction? It no longer is finances. Because everyone has highs and lows. Let's just be honest. Like you said, a lot of men don't even hit their peak until they're like in their 50s. So if you're talking about you're meeting a man and he's 28, he may not be there. He may be really low. Are you going to really get rid of a good man because he's just not at his peak yet? And I think that's one of the reasons why I kind of put that priority a little bit lower on the list, for most people.
So I'm gonna be real, okay, so having a 2-year-old and a 8-month-old at home is kind of like, it's kind of been for us kind of like COVID all over again, because we're Miss probably laugh. We're in a city where we don't have either one of our families, right? So my husband's family is from Chicago, my family is from Louisiana. So we don't have any babysitters yet, right? So we haven't found anybody or trusted anybody yet to keep the kids, really. So we had a babysitter one time. And so we stay in the house. A lot of times, like if we get invited out and we can't bring the kids, like we really don't go anywhere. We go to work and we do our family stuff and we stay at home. But what I realized in this time of my life is that my dad always said there's windows that open and close in your life, right? There's times for everything. So when it's time for something different, you're not missing that other time because you did that when it was time to do that, right? So I've said on another podcast, we waited a very long time to have children, and we good timed it. I mean, we've traveled, we've partied, we've enjoyed each other's friendship, our relationship. Like we're the definition of lovers and friends. So at this moment in my life, when a lot of our friends are our same age and everyone's coming into money now, everyone's progressing in their career, everyone's starting to travel more, everyone is starting to just really enjoy the fruits of their labor. the both of us are okay because we're in the house because we love our home. We love where our heart is. Our heart, what they say, your heart is where truly where your heart is.
Your home is where your heart
The
is. Yep.
we don't it's not been one period in this time, and I had this conversation with my brother. My brother is like, man, you're so mature because I know this is where I am in my life. We have small children. Our focus is our children. Our focus is getting down our routine with our work life. And if it's outside of that, we're with both sets of our parents, right? And our siblings. That's where our focus is right now. And we're not, we it's a good night for us is spending $200 on Uber Eats, or we're getting every type of wing that we want, and you
Damn,
know, you know what I'm saying? Like we're
that's a
getting
party.
yes, we're getting the fried rice, and we gonna go ahead and bite the bullet and pay the $30 in delivery
Yep.
fees. Like, and we watching, we might be watching the Colorado
Yo.
game on a Saturday night. We just put the kids to sleep, and we hanging on the couch. At the end of the day, that's really what life is about. When you strip away all the glitz, all the glamour, everything that the gram has become, right? You strip all of that away. What is life truly about? Life is about spending it with people who fill your soul, who make you happy, who make you laugh, who you would go to bat for, who you would die for, who you would do anything for. And that when you're choosing a partner, all that other stuff is frivolous.
Yep.
Me and my husband have gone through so much, good and bad. And I'm like, at this point in our life, I'm like, we're not missing out on a damn thing. We saving our coins, and when that time comes back around, then we'll be ready to party and have a good time. But the focus of finance is so much. When that's stripped away and you're not able to really take part in things, you realize what life is about. It's not
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, it's
Damn.
about the moments. Like you said, it's the moments we make. Like I don't really even remember, like my house and that I'm, raise my children in and things like that. Like our focus is not tangible things. I know everyone's like, oh, that's so ridiculous. No, it's more like the moments and experiences that we have with each other. Because I can remember those forever. I can be like, hey, you know what? I remember we did this, or this reminds me of this, or we had a good time. Those are the things we remember. It's not necessarily like something that's going to be like, oh, I bought this. How many, now, as a parent, Casey, how many dang tablets have these children broke? I mean, at this point, does it really matter? It doesn't. Like, they remember that you maybe gave them an experience or something that they saw,
Yep.
but it's not necessarily the item itself. If that makes sense.
For real, for real.
Mhm.
Damn, y'all ate on that one. That was dope. We're gonna so let me preface this for our next topic. This topic is gonna seem like it's off topic for the patriarchy versus matriarchy, but it's not. So I think one of the reasons that people resist patriarchy or believe that they should is because it comes with too much structure and rules. Women don't have freedom under patriarchy, but I don't think that's true at all. I think what it is that anything dealing with men predominantly in a community as the head, and these men are functional, there are going to be rules. In their own households, there are going to be rules for them, for their wives, for their sons, especially their daughters. So I think that is a function of patriarchy. And I'm not going to say just good parenting, bad parenting can definitely happen under a patriarchy, but it's a lot more structured and a lot less nuanced. They're a lot more like, this is what's good and acceptable, and this is what's bad and unacceptable within a patriarchal system. But now that we've moved more into a gynocracy, I think a lot more people are talking about this nuanced style of parenting where everyone can create their own way. So this lady basically cursed out this video I'm about to play, just cursed out parents on Instagram. So I just want to see what y'all think about it. So let me get this super chat read, and then we're gonna start the video. My man Harrison Davis 757 fam, what's up, home team? With the $5 super chat, appreciate that. Y'all keep them coming. My man Dale Matthew, member for 17 months. Get the likes up, y'all. Yes, we got Miss Polly and Casey killing it. All right, let's play that video for the next topic.
out all the parents. If you're a parent and your child is in pre-K to elementary school to high school, I'm calling you out. The children today, I have never experienced, and I'm 22. Having to teach and work with you guys as children has been the most traumatic experience of my life. I teach 5-year-olds ballet. 5-year-old girls ballet. I have a class of 10 students. They don't respect any authority. You ask them, can you stand in your designated spot? They're telling you no and shut up. They're throwing things at each other. They're throwing things at other people, other classmates. You say, can everybody sit in their spot? I don't want to. I'm not doing that. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not my mom. You confront the parent. The parent tries to argue with you and fuss at you because you tried to reprimand and redirect their kid. I told a young little girl, please sit in your spot. You're not my mom. You don't tell me what to do. Okay. When her mom came to pick her up, I said, hey, your daughter's having a hard time following instructions. And 7 times today, I've had to redirect her to just sit in her spot. Well, clearly she didn't want to sit. And mind you, this is a mom. Clearly she didn't want to sit right there. So, I mean, if she's telling you she don't want to do something, why keep asking her to do it? You know she's not going to do it. What world do we live in?
That video long as hell. I ain't gonna play the whole thing, but what are your thoughts? All right, bad parenting. How has our shift away from a patriarchal system started to affect our parenting styles for the worse? And Miss Polly, I don't know if you're a parent or not, but either way, we all interface with these badass kids out here, and or their parents. So, Casey, you got it first. What do you got?
So yeah, I saw this video, and it spoke to me because I taught dance after I finished dancing as well, and I taught 2 classes. I taught like 5 to 7-year-olds and 9 10-year-olds, right? But it wasn't in our community. So the experience that I got was completely opposite of her. I had parents that would come to me because we had like an area where they could sit and watch me teach sometimes for one of the classes, and sometimes they would catch things and come to me after class and say, Casey, if you don't mind, can you separate my daughter from so and so, because you were dealing with this and they were over there talking and she's a distraction to my daughter, so if you don't mind, can you please move? Like it was the exact opposite, right?
Yeah.
So hearing her story, it literally the other day, it just, I hurt my soul because you can see that she's really like genuinely caring. You know, she talked about how she styled her hair to, you know, just be a pillar of them to see and look up to, and that they're like very uninterested in it at 5, which is absolutely crazy. But yeah, people, you know, you hear from teachers all the time that you talk to the parents about behaviors in the classroom and they're like, okay, so what do you want me to do? And it's, as a teacher, how do you even combat that? Because you don't have that support with that child. And if you say the wrong thing or if it comes out wrong, then you might be in an altercation with that parent, right? Right. So what do you do in that instance? I think this is it's definitely a societal issue. To wrap this up, Mike, I think it's a societal issue. I think it goes back to single parenting as well. Fathers not being in the home. My dad used to take me to dance class. And my mom would be waiting for me with, you know, dinner when I got home. So I think it's lack of 2-parent households. I think it is parents are tired and they have multiple children and they're kind of like, what do you want me to do? They kind of have like their hands up type of thing. They're a kid. I also think people don't know what authority looks like when it comes to their child. I think people feel like if you give your child any type of structure, you are in this day and age. I know parents are like, if you give your child some type of structure, you're limiting their growth, and you're not letting them be a free spirit, or you're not letting them express themselves
Mhm.
as they should. You shouldn't put an age on expression. And I've heard those type of conversations. I'm like, I'm gonna be old school mom. I don't know what y'all talking about. So yeah, I think it's both of those things together, working together in 2023.
All right. It's
Okay.
Polly.
Yes. So yes, I am a parent. I am a parent.
Okay.
And I actually went to school to be a teacher, elementary education. Um, and I decided not to pursue that, but I mean, or any further, like to go into that particular field. A lot of it had to do with the politics of it all. But I think a lot of the reason right now is parents who are the coming up parents, let's just say that. And even maybe like early 30s, but not necessarily a lot. They want to be their children's friend. And I think that's a big issue. A lot of times they're like, oh, I maybe wasn't treated well, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you're not supposed to be your children's friend. You're supposed to
Mhm.
be their parent. And I think there's a really the line is just so like it's just meant like it's disappearing, the line between friends and your children. You'll see even like down to you'll see mothers trying to party with their daughters. You'll see, like why am I in the club with my daughter? That's a little odd. It those kind of relationships, there's no line. And so you also have that then wrapped in with people who can't even tell themselves no. Let's start with that. They can't even tell themselves no to like overindulging, not overeating, not overspending, they can't even tell themselves no. And now you want them to tell another person no. They they can't even tell themselves no. I think it's really hard for them to then teach their kids those things. And when their kids are running wild at the end of the day, when they give them over to these other places, dance and teachers and things like that, it's like, oh, that's not my problem. But then if you bring it up to them, then they're more agitated at you, like you're supposed to do something about it. Once again, not taking responsibility for their own children, but yet they don't take responsibility for themselves. So it's just like kind of a lack of responsibility, not really understanding the full role of parenting. That's a big one.
Mhm.
Not knowing the full role of parenting. It's not just let's cut things up, let's make cookies and let's dance. It's also about being able to say no. And I think a lot of people don't understand that saying no doesn't mean you don't love people. Saying no means you care. Because if I'm saying no, it's for a reason. And a lot of people don't understand that. They see it, no, you're not giving me what I want. You're not letting me do what I want to do. So you don't care about me. And the real answer is no. I'm telling you no because I care for you, because I want this to go right for you. And I have to be the strong one, the tough one to say no. And a lot of parents, they're not in that place. A lot of them are really young parents. They don't understand that. So then you have basically children teaching children to teach children to be children. Like they don't, there's
Mm.
no growth.
Mm. That's a word. That whole teaching children to listen. I've seen so much bad parenting at this point. It's not even funny. I'm sorry. I've seen so much bad parenting. I don't want to live in America anymore because my kids are eventually going to interface with your kids, and that shit's going to be a problem. I'm very opinionated, and I don't. When it comes to my children, I'm not very polite of an individual. Just like Casey, I understand the root of the problem. Because where I live, we don't deal with this at all. For some reason on our side, we live by all the Indians. And my son's Taekwondo studio, there's a strong father presence. Those Indians, a lot of those men are in IT, so they work from home. So they end up taking, just like me, taking their kid to and from school to all activities, to Kuman, to Taekwondo. And you get instantaneous compliance because the second a kid is acting up and they get redirected, they look back like, did my daddy see that shit? So that has that father presence. And even if he's not physically present, it's like that ever presence that dads tend to have. I remember being at a graduation, I forget for which relative, and the valedictorian is like, I want to thank my dad. Everybody always asks me why I'm so obedient. And I was like, my dad is much like Jesus. Even when he ain't there, he there. And I felt that when he said it, because that's how my dad was. Man, if I every decision I made, every bad decision I was about to make was weighed against what my father would think about it. That's what fathers do. And it's not just fathers being there with their children. The mothers either aren't with the fathers, as we know, or they take the opportunity to stray away from the father's teaching when the father isn't around. That's a big one, right? So I think what we can see on one end is mothers trying to be super assertive. But if what my wife sent me last week is to be true, she said some study is being done, and because of the pheromones coming off of women, mothers, your children behave 800 times worse. I said, how do they quantify that? She said, babe, read it. 800 times worse because of the pheromones coming up off of you. And not only can I believe that, I see that in my house every single day. My children will be here with me, not a peep. They are sitting down coloring or reading. My wife will come in and be like, the baby sleep? No, they right here doing what the hell I asked them to do. Then they run downstairs and their voice turns from being able to speak perfect words to this whiny, but mom, I'm like, what? If y'all don't stop that right now, where that voice come from, you know? But no, it's something that I hold very dear to my heart. That my wife is, she's also very intentional about making sure the things that I say are consistently passed on to our kids, even when I'm not there. But yeah, I just want all the moms out there to know, if you have a man that's trying to put some discipline into your kids, that's who the children are going to listen to ultimately. You can blame everything on him. As a matter of fact, that's what he's there for. You get to be the one that love on them and do all that. But if you don't use that, I'll tell your daddy often enough, you should. All right, let me get this. Let me get the super chat, and then you got it, Miss Polly. Let me get the super chat. My man, Big Ant, $10. Trigger Mike, I saw your child in walk today, laying on the floor, kicking and screaming. Was I wrong for thinking about tying the kid up to a gallon of milk to put in the cooler to chill out? Just ask it. First of all, you didn't see my child doing that. Let's get that straight, Big Ant. You didn't see my child doing that.
No, he said he saw a child. He did say
a child. A child.
He did.
Laying in the floor. Oh, wait, hold on. We gotta bring that back.
Okay.
Kicking and screaming. Was I wrong for thinking? No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You know what? Let me take it off moms for a second. Y'all want to know what the problem is? And I'm gonna start making sure I say this and y'all hold me to account for this. It's some of these punk ass daddies. Because sometimes the daddy's there. And this dude don't be saying nothing. It's some of these punk ass daddies that just, well, she said the new style of parent, don't yell at the kid. Don't, like, what? Yo, when I see, like, I've never in my life wanted to assault somebody more than I wanted to assault a punk ass daddy whose kid is acting up while he's there, knowing they need his intervention and his pushback, and he don't do it. There's nothing that annoys me more than seeing a punk ass daddy like that. Miss Polly, you got it.
Okay, so I actually was gonna say something about that. And this is just from my own experience that this happened. I did have that experience where I never really, like, I was always the one to being more like they know that I'm the one that's like no tolerance kind of person. And I never felt that until kind of a bit later in life, where one of my partners was like, it was like almost as if he was protecting me from the kids. I know that sounds weird, but even though, like, I didn't quote unquote need, but it was like he was like, oh, you ain't gonna talk all wild. And I was like, wait a minute, like, I felt protected from these kids. Sometimes they act like they just careless too, and it's kind of like that bond between you and that person also is like they're protecting you as a unit away from those children. I know that sounds really strange, but if some of y'all know what I'm talking about, it is a covering. So when you have a man in your life who is not doing that, protecting you as also his partner, like, hey, you ain't gonna talk to my lady like that, regardless if you're a person or not. It's a different kind of role, and I think that also is very helpful, because it kind of lays down that line for your kids too, to know that, hey, like, this is it's kind of like us against you, but not, if you get what I'm saying. Like I said, the parenting and child like place, it separates that line. And if you don't have someone there helping assert that line, it doesn't exist. And it is that wild.
Children will play up on whatever parent they feel is more of the friend, right? They'll wedge themselves in between that couple, and it's imperative that, like you're saying, Polly, that the husband and wife are on the same page, because that child is gonna realize, like, oh, mom's a little bit more weak to me. So what I'm gonna do when daddy starts saying this, I'm gonna go to mom, and and they're like, children can't be that malicious. Yes, they can. Kids are smart. Kids are smart. They're smarter than people think. Kids. What do they say, that children gain the most growth of their brain? They grow the most mentally, by the age of 4, right? Between 1 and 4 year are the most critical years of your child's life. And a lot of people play around with those years, right? And they don't think, oh, my child's not paying attention to all this rap music I'm playing around them, or they're not paying attention to all this cursing in the house. They're not paying. That's literally when they are the biggest sponge of their entire life. And so realizing and having that united front in your home is so critical. It's like, it's everything. And Trigger Mike, like, my husband, he works from home, so he's been the person that they've seen the most at daycare, and now at their new school. Well, Ryan's daycare, and now at the new school. So he don't say much because they scared of him, but then they scared of me because I do all the talking. Because he's just big black man, and he come in there, and he's smiling, but he paying attention to everything. And then I come in, I'm like, okay, so my husband told me that this was going on. Or, I'm keeping up with the app. I read every app, every email. So they realize we are a united front. Whatever he sees, he's coming to tell me. Whatever I read, I'm telling him. Yeah, so my wife said through email last night, y'all were. So they know, do not play with us, because we're talking every single day about our child. I don't care if she's 2. We're having those conversations every single day. And so it's just really, really important that when your child is going out into the world, that people know who is behind them, who is raising them, who's taking care of them, and also know, like, your point of view. I try to be very clear and calculated with my conversation with teachers and with administration. I let them know how we are, what we think, what our goal is with our child, right? So if something happens down the line, like old girl was saying in the video, like, okay, I asked them to line up. That person's gonna know, okay, let me call, Miss Casey, because I already know they don't play about their child, and they believe in discipline. So they're gonna come to me without hesitation, so that we can nip something in the bud if my child's getting influenced at school or whatever, or what have you. So yeah, that's that's very important.
Indeed. You brought up, let me get you brought up something that's actually very important. I'm not even gonna say her name because she's pretty popular, but we were having an argument months ago, probably right after New Year's, and I had said something, and I don't mean to, like, I didn't mean to trigger her, but she already knows my MO. I'm pro family. I'm not even pro man. I'm pro family. Anything that's detrimental to the family unit, I'm against. Okay, so we were talking, and somehow I went on to say one of the reasons I cannot leave my wife, it won't be me. She's going to have to leave, because one of the things that I think about the most is the consistency in our ability to intervene in our children's behavior. It's quick. That's how good children get made. It's not that they don't act up or they don't have any kind of behavioral issues. Everything is met with swift and immediate intervention from one of us. One of us caught that shit. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell your daddy. The school has folders. So if the folder wasn't right, swift intervention. If I heard you say a word like, where the hell you learn that word? It's in the car, swift intervention. when you remove one parent, you naturally cannot be as efficient in that on that front, right? So she got upset, like I'm just because she's divorced, but I wasn't trying to say anything. I was just like, look, that you have to teach it that way. I understand that her relationship didn't work out, but she's gonna have to work overtime now to make sure she catches those mishaps with her children. And that's why I said I can't leave aside from what's going on with me. And if I ever have any personal issues with my wife, one of the things that I'll think about is like, nope, because this is the effect it will have. Like our daughter, she's smart as a whip, but she talks a lot. So that's the only thing on her folder ever. Smiley face butt. I'm pretty sure that she's the only person they do that to. Smiley face butt. She's a little chatty today. I was like, yeah, as long as she keep getting these 99, this is the only school I ever seen that give kids like 7 assessments a day. I don't know what the hell we were thinking. But anyway, so I'm like, all right, in the car, when I hear her say things, I'm like, okay, immediate intervention. I know she picked that up from one of these little other chatty ass girls who are trying to be grown or whatever. I'm going to intervene. You don't say that. If I hear it again, you're going to be in serious trouble. Okay, daddy. Yes, sir. I'm not going to do it again. That is what I want for all children. That's how we raise good children. What do y'all think? Oh, let me get this super chat and I'm going to get y'all thoughts on it.
Okay.
All right, AP, accountability partner. My man, what's up? $5. Kids to active and present dads don't even think to behave like that at such a young age. The fatherly fear will keep a child in line. Okay. I want y'all to talk about the intervention thing, but I want to talk about this thing with fear.
Okay.
I've noticed that a lot of mothers do not like the term fear as it relates to the children toward their father. They don't like the term fear. But do you think, I'm going to tell you right now, I was scared of my daddy. I was scared of my daddy. Do you think there's a healthy bit of fear that will keep kids on the straight and narrow? Polly?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely do think there is, because it's like, even though they can care and they can have their good time, have their fun times, it's also the fear of knowing that there could possibly be something really bad that could happen, is gonna keep them in line. And that's anything, even down to if you just flip the roles, just adults, like, what keeps you from breaking the law? The thought that, oh God, I could go to jail. There is a consequence for your actions. And if your consequence in your home is that, you obviously can't go to jail, is that, there's going to be something that takes place. And that parent, if it gets to that particular place, then yeah, that's when it's gone too far. I think that kind of keeps them in line, for anyone, for a while, because for myself, like I said, I'm a little bit I'm more harsh than everybody else, because I'm more like, it has to be a certain way. I'll even say, like, when it comes to me, like, yeah, like most of our parents and our not our parents, sorry, the teachers in the schools, they know if it gets to me, it's probably not good, because I'm just no tolerance. I'm just gonna, everything has to go. Everything has to stop, because at that point, it's like it's gone too far. So whoever's like parent hears it first is usually not me. I'll hear about it because, parent communication. I'll hear about it. But if it gets to a point where it's not taken care of, then like I'm like the last step of like, that's it. So I think that fear keeps them in line. It's probably like, oh, does she know, or does it? It does. It makes them act different. I'm not saying it's me. It's just me and my personal circumstance. But even now, when I have my other partners, it's like you said, like that community too. Well, obviously, I have more than one partner. So if someone, if I hear something that one of the kids do, everybody's phone ring. Everybody gets the text from the school that somebody did something. Everybody gets it, and they don't hear from just one person. They hear from everybody. Everybody's got to give their interjection to the child. So whoever they deem is that's too much. So they still get it. That fear is good and healthy.
Okay. Casey, what do you think?
I was scared of both of my parents. I was scared to let them down. Like, I feel like they were just perfect in my eyes. And what me and my husband agreed on doing with our kids at a young age. And I feel like this is what, like, I feel like this helped me out. You know how some parents believe in like keeping their children in a bubble to the world, like
Oh yeah.
let kids be kids as they grow up. They don't need to know the harshness of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel like that helped me in decision making because my parents literally like exposed me and talked to me and shared possible outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like, oh, we're just going to keep you in this bubble and you're just this perfect butterfly. They literally would say, okay, if you make these decisions, all right, we're not saying that this is like the straight path to this X, Y, and Z, but this is a possible outcome of constant decision making like this, right?
Yep.
And so at an early age, I feel like my critical thinking skills and
Oh.
me being rational without them being around developed at a young age, right? Also, my oldest brother didn't sugarcoat things as an older brother. You know, sometimes people are like, oh, it's my sister. Like, don't, stay away from her. My brother's like, okay, no, this is what this is about. This is what these guys are about. This is what they are
Mm-hmm.
about. This is what you have to be aware for, like he went to Southern before I did. So he would say, Casey, as a freshman, there's a union, right? And that's where everybody hang out. I'm like, oh, okay, like a union, like high school, like a commons area, like, yeah, this is where everybody hang out. You don't want to ever have to stay away from the union because you slept with so many guys that, bamboozled you. You thought they didn't know each other, but they were all best friends. And you end up thinking that you knew better, right? And you just walked into a booby trap. Like he would tell me stuff like that to educate me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Educate me on how to carry myself. And my parents did the same thing. So I feel like when it comes, and I hate to say I feel like, I'm thinking that when it comes to just parenting, you have to give your kids like some knowledge because they're not always going to be under you. They're not always going to be in your home. And so you have to equip them with as much as you can and prepare them for as much as they're going to be exposed to without you to make those decisions and feel confident in making those decisions.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. And good parents. So we're going to get the topic of tonight going. Peace to everybody in the chat. If you're just tuning in, welcome to Uncomfortable Convos by Trigger Mike. We got KCB and Miss Polly up in here cooking tonight. After we get started on this topic, I will drop the link for all you fellas that want to come up and speak on it. The main topic is patriarchy versus matriarchy. Which is better for our society? I had a video. Man, if y'all get a chance to look at this video, this lady, everybody's always asking me what my type is. Well, ladies that speak like this lady, like have her speech pattern, that's my type. Now, if a lady's this intelligent and this realistic and able to give objective insight into what's going on in the world the way this woman did on this topic, that is my type. But no, I'm gonna play the video for y'all and we're gonna chop it up. So take notes, it's about a minute and some change long, but we're gonna chop it up about what she says. And if you catch this video by this lady, I think her name is LaTanya, on Instagram, go read the comments, boy. We got a lot of simps in the world. That's all I'll say.
We need to dismantle the patriarchy. We could consider that there are actually more women than men in universities, more women than men who hold PhDs. Women are being preferentially selected for jobs, not for being the best candidates, but to fill equity quotas that favor women. Women hold all the power in divorce courts. Laws incentivize women to leave their husbands and take the kids, destroy men and get paid to do it, or skip marriage altogether and just have children for the paycheck. I mean, is there really any opportunities that we want that we do not have? I know there's plenty of things that we don't want to do, and luckily we can just leave that to the men, while this evil patriarchy ideology conditions little girls to cringe at the thought of being just a mom and debases building homemaker skills in favor of building an army of boss is ready to tear down the patriarchy, when all it's really doing is tearing apart families, tearing apart relationships, and tearing down our femininity. And with that goes our chance at peace in our home, peace in our communities, in our nation, and on this planet. And maybe that's the point.
Woo! I'm sorry. You know, dudes like to watch twerk videos to get their little high. I like to watch videos like that. Oh boy, intelligence is sexy. I'm not gonna lie to you. All right, but we'll start with you, Casey. What do you think? Is she right about this attack on the patriarchy, or is the patriarchy something that needs to be dealt with accordingly?
I agree with everything she said. There's no pushback. Um, it's all going against the dismantlement of our family, the family structure, the nuclear family. She's hit on so many different points when it came to like women being promoted in positions, um, women being in college, enrolled at a higher rate, enrolled. Um, she also touched on you said take notes. I should have took notes. She touched on a lot.
She
She
did say a
touched
lot.
on a lot, but it all came to the breakdown of the nuclear family and women that want to destroy the patriarchy. For what reason? It's a power struggle is what it is.
Yep.
We can keep going.
All right, Polly, what do you think about the video?
I do very much agree. Just like you said, the nuclear family, it's different now. I won't say like everything's we don't know what the new family looks like. That's what I'll say. We don't know what that looks like, but we all know that our society does mimic our relationships mimic what our society looks like. So the nuclear family, obviously there was a mimic with that, how they went together, but now it's a little different. So I don't know where it's going. I don't think we've actually have any particular name for it yet, but it's getting to the point where we can't afford to live and function for the most part, large, like by just being with two people. And like that's a real big struggle. You see a lot of people being in homes where there's like 6-7 roommates. So the dynamic in the home is changing. You're seeing, like you said, like less people being in couples and things like this. It's just, I don't know what kind of family dynamic is going to come out of this, but there's definitely going to reflect what it looks like in our society. It looks a little chaotic, so I don't know what it's going to look like, but definitely what she's saying, it is tearing it down. But to what, I don't know.
Okay. My man AP asked an interesting question I want to answer. He said, is it me or is the patriarchy already dead in the US? You know what? I got a bit of a kind of a loaded answer to that. I don't think it can really die in a country that has this much immigration in it, or illegal immigration, because I watched, I actually read his stuff, then I saw something from him. There was a psychologist breaking it down. He called it the ethnic switch, and it happens in a lot of countries because even though we are sort of against a lot of illegal immigration, and in part, we also have to remember sometimes these people end up replacing values that we lost. And that is definitely what I see in my neighborhood, because the Nigerians, the Mexicans, some of the Salvadorians, all these these people coming in, the dads are the head of the family. The dads are there. The dads are there. So whatever impoverished situation they're gonna be in, and not gonna be in it for long. That mom is gonna work with that dad no matter what he got. Remember, there are the dudes that cut my grass for $30 every other Wednesday, go home and probably get their feet washed by abuelita and their wife. Okay. So we got to remember these people are replacing values that we lost. So for traditional Americans, right? For white and black people, yeah, sure. We got our shit is messed up. It's all messed up. But no, we have people in droves coming in this country, replacing all the values that we lost. If we need another example, oh my God, the Asians, the small hats, they never stop. They just keep achieving. They fail up. Even when they fail, it's not even really a failure. They write it off on their taxes and just keep on going. Right. So that's the way I kind of look at it. The people that are now coming in this country and that will replace and become the majority, no, their values are perfectly fine. They're intact. What do y'all think? In fact, let me get this super chat real quick and then I'm
Okay, go ahead.
Marriage, politics, and sports, my man, $10. The funny thing is that the matriarchy can't exist outside of the patriarchy. The powers that be in America are commercial. And when the gynocracy stops making money, say bye to the matriarchy. That is factual. That is factual. Go ahead, Casey. You were going to say something?
No, I mean, everyone's running their own race except two main groups of people. Everyone is running their own race with their own within their own race. They're running their own race, right? Because they have their core values of what their culture believes in, and they stand by it regardless of what the US presents to them. They're not folding, they're not bending. They're as for me in my house, this is what they're going to do. And we used to say that within our community. For it used to be the grandmother, when it was real grandmothers at some point, would be speaking, and grandfather would be sitting there quiet right by her, and she would say, for me in my house. And what that meant, the entire family, everyone that came out of that house, everyone that came from her, and all the individual families from the two of them would live accordingly to what they set forth for their lineage and for their family. That is no longer, especially within our community. It's gone.
Mm. All right, Miss Paula, you got anything?
Yeah.
On this, y'all, I've dropped the link if y'all want to come up and chat with us on this particular topic. Y'all got some fire, I'm sure. Go ahead, Miss Paula, you got it.
Yeah, no, I do agree with Casey. Like everyone else seems to not change. They're not changing what they are guided by. Now I do have a kind of like a theoretical question. Since, African Americans have been progressing, as we progress, obviously. And we are kind of even a large portion too are throwing away, Christianity as, hey, that's something that was given to us and all that. And they're trying to find their roots and things like that back, in Africa and things like this. Since at this point we've been, mixed so much with just within even tribes within when we came here to America, since it's kind of like, like I said, we lost our identity. Even mixing with Caucasians and all things like that. So we've lost our identity. We actually have none to some degree. Correct. I mean, well, there's just theory. We don't really have any really thing that's ours. So when you're throwing away the parts that even just were given to you that you took on, now you really have none to even hold on and say this is us. And when you say, hey, we're gonna make sure in this house, this is what we used to do, that was quote unquote given to us through Christianity and things like that. So now, what are you holding on to? So now, are we just making up something, and what we're making up is just supposedly stupid? That's in theory what I'm thinking. Just a thought. Not saying that's what I'm holding true to at this moment. But if we've lost that identity as Black Americans, and everyone else has a quote unquote identity or something to refer back to say this is how we run our families in our homes and blah blah blah. And the only thing we can say is that we're from Africa, which is a continent, and we don't even have a tribe. Most of us don't look for back, and or even if we do have a tribe, it's 3 or 4 tribes that have been mixed over long periods of generations. We don't really have anything but just to choose something randomly. So then what do we base everything you do on? We've lost it.
But since since we became African Americans, right? After slavery, right? We had a structured home that worked. We had a father, a mother, children, grandmothers, grandfathers, community, business on, like we gotta keep skipping all the way back to slavery. Not saying you, Miss Polly. I'm
No,
saying
I
because
understand.
you're talking about people in general and what they say. So that's, I'm not talking directly to you, but I'm saying like they literally skip over where we were successful, where we were thriving, where we were great in our communities in the midst of chaos and everything that was being thrown at us through those times. But we've fallen and gone away with all those things that made our homes and our communities great. So then you ask, what is it, what got us here now? What was the going rate? I say social media has a big part to play in it. Fatherless homes has a big part to play in it. um it's so many things that has a big part to play in the whole equation of where we are now as African Americans. But we can't have, on social media, we can't have this conversation of, oh well, Christianity was given to us and this and that, and what was the religion before, and all, that's why we are what we are, and this and that. At the end of the day, we're spiritual people, period, point blank, end of story. We are spiritual, very we're going away from that. Like we're literally throwing that spirituality away and going to this individualistic sense of self. It's praise myself, basically. It's, I'm gonna
Yeah.
praise me instead of a higher power, instead of God, right? I'm gonna focus on me. I'm gonna lift myself up. For Black women, I'm Black girl magic. I'm all things great. I'm a queen. I'm this, I'm that. And that's women. We're great. Outside of our men, we need to be praised. It's so much like self praise when Black people were, and African Americans were, the people who believed in outside of yourself, God, spirit, praising, worshiping, being silent, just having that spirituality and that connection. So I don't, it's so many things, and we could talk about it. It's so many factors to where we ended up today. But all of that is the reason why our families are the reason why they are. This is why we're having this conversation about parenting. This is why we're having this conversation about patriarchy and matriarchy. All of this goes back to what happened with our family structure and our beliefs as well.
All right, Payne, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on? Hello, ladies. How you doing? Hey, listen, it's already funny how we already how everybody automatically calls the patriarchy or the matriarchy something negative. I mean, there's a natural order of things. Somebody gave the natural order of things the name patriarchy because men are naturally leaders. If you want society to build, they always build better with men in leadership. Now, I'm not making a judgment as to whether those men are good leaders and benevolent leaders, but all civilizations are based on the strength of the men in those civilizations. And women are willing to fall under that. Now, there's some specific roles for women that feminism convinced women are negative or weak. Because if you're not like a man, then your value is somewhat less. And that's one of the biggest lies I think women bought into. The power is in their femininity, not in trying to be a man. I mean, we're living in times where, I mean, the experiment is already over, right? We're saying, there's a lot of people say we live in a matriarchy now, right? Because women get deference in almost everything under the sun. But, I mean, that video you just showed is really true. But what's the results of that? I mean, we have the receipts. It's an absolute disaster, right? I mean, but one of the things, if you look at Black families in the past, when we had Jim Crow and all the oppression, the only question we would ask ourselves, were men and women, Black men and women together because we had to be or we wanted to be? Because when there was segregation, we didn't have anywhere to go. We had collective misery. So we had to be together. Is that the reason why we were together? Or it was just a natural thing for, families to grow? And we had some strong families. from the greatest generation into the silent generation. Some of the baby boomer families were strong, even though nowadays everybody blames the baby boomers for everything, as if we all lived in a vacuum. And everybody forgets about all the watershed moments in the 50s, 60s, and 70s that helped shape us to where we are today. I mean, there's a whole lot of list of shit. So there's a lot of factors. And, and it's very hard to have a full conversation because not none of us, but some of us are not expert in all the things that shape the way we live today. And it's not no one thing, all of us are subject to the puppet masters that run society, right? You could put certain stimuli in the neighborhood and you could predict how people are going to react. You throw some drugs in there, you throw a law out there, you throw a Benny out there, a benefit out there. You could pretty much predict how people are going to react about that benefit. One of the things about the Moynihan report was that Patrick Moynihan had the best intentions in mind because he said, now that we're going into civil rights, we have to assume that since Black people are so far behind, we have to give them something so they could be on even par with white people. That was a huge mistake, right? Because it caused this thing that we were, less than. If we were made to compete with white folks on par, we would have built the muscles to just live in society as it is. And I think we would have thrived. And there's evidence to that. And here's the evidence. And it might not, if you like sports, I remember when John Thompson, he was a great basketball coach for Georgetown. When the NCAA said, we're not going to give scholarships to Black teenagers unless they could be C students in high school, he protested because he thought that was racist. He says if they, because they were getting into colleges, elite colleges with bad grades. And the NCAA did it, and they focused on Black kids because they weren't passing grades. So they mandated you have to be at least a C student. And he protested, he walked out of a few games, and a lot of other Black coaches did as well. Guess what? The kids actually became better than C students so they can go to college. So was that a bad thing? In the NBA, when they had the dress code, guys used to come to games looking like thugs and bums and just like right out of the street. And the commissioner said, I'm going to have a dress code. Everybody said, well, that was racist. And then they put the dress code in. Now, most of the NBA players are fashionistas.
You damn right. These dudes be wearing some.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is we don't need those kind of handouts because we can compete on any level you put out there, and so, I mean, where's that getting, where am I going with this? What I'm saying is, we're calling this an uncomfortable conversation, but I'm hearing you talk to the ladies, I'm talking to them, and ain't nothing about this conversation that seems uncomfortable to me.
Oh, it is in the overall YouTube verse.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you're having a comfortable conversation on this topic with a couple of ladies and a couple of guys who don't want to argue over this.
Well, the terrorists are going to show up later. If at all.
But what I'm saying is, but I hear you, but you know what I mean. We can have terrorist kind of conversations, or we can have, just rational conversations about a situation that where maybe we could come to some meeting of the minds if we have the right premise. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm not concerned about women being the matriarchy. I think women, I just think that in the end, the natural order of things takes over. Man, most women, no matter what the bullshit they talk about, right? They will prefer a man who can lead. They just don't want him to ask. They just do. I mean, it's just like a natural goddamn thing. No matter how much money they make, no matter how much, when in the end, when they talk to themselves, they say, God damn it, I wish somebody could take these burdens of life off my shoulder.
Hell yeah. I think that, we get a bad rep for understanding, men especially, we get a bad rep for understanding the nature of women. I feel like I get a lot of flack for just understanding. I got a mom and 2 sisters. Good God, I understand the nature and was taught to understand the nature of women. In fact, I don't believe you fully understand your job as a man until you understand the nature of it. It's a very easy guide to say, here's where she's going to struggle, so here's where I can help,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Right.
And I
Right.
get a
So
bad rep for understanding men because I
yeah,
have 3
it,
brothers and a father, so I get called a pick me, right? Called a
it,
pick
it-
me
it's
because I've
it's
been surrounded by amazing men my entire life, and it's not a power struggle for me, and I don't feel less than, and I don't feel like I need to apologize because I respect a man's position in this world and in my life. I don't apologize for that, but that's what I get called.
yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous out here. So let me ask y'all. Let me ask y'all. So we're gonna go to Miss Polly first. What if we were in a let's say the men just gave up and we are in a true matriarchal matrilineal society where kids are actually just taking their mom's last name and moms are the head of the family. You know what I'm saying? Because even in the black community, that's kind of what it looks like now anyway. But a true matriarchy, what benefits? Because we could talk about, men are naturally going to get rubbed the wrong way, pause, by all of this talk of matriarchy and being displaced out of their natural position. But I'm ready to have the conversation. Okay, what would a matriarchy actually look like? What are the benefits? Are there any benefits to having a matriarchy replace a patriarchy? Miss Polly, you got
Oh wow. I don't know. I don't. You said the benefits?
it. Yeah. Are
Okay.
there any?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to be real. I need more. I need more time. I think I need more time for the answer. At this very moment, like I don't know if there's a lot of positive or negative right now. I'm just trying to think what's horrible about it. I just think we all need each other at some point. It just has to be someone has to be in a particular role to do certain things. And I'm not saying all the time. Obviously we all have strengths within our relationships to some degree. Um, I think when it comes to that particular thing, I can't really think of a whole lot that's going to be so much greater, other than people. Hang on, wait, I lied. But this is a lie. I believe in this statement, and then I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Feelings lie. That's a statement. Feelings can lie, right? You can feel something, but it not be true, right? So I think that the only thing that would be positive in this moment of thought is that people would feel good even if the results are negative. Their emotional state, they would feel good, but it wouldn't necessarily be good. Just like people who think drinking makes them feel good, but at the end result, there's negative things that come with it that don't end well, but it feels good in the moment. So I think a lot of people think it's okay because it feels good, but it's not necessarily. Um, that's the only thing I can think of, that they're mentally thinking, or they're in a delusion that things are greater than they are. And that's something I think they would think of as positive, but it's not necessarily positive.
Yeah.
If I have to add more, I will. I'll pass it on for now.
No, everything that you're saying is exactly what I was gonna say. And to that point, we're already living there because when you go to sports, the whole participation award thing and all that thing came from mothers in sports. It did not come from men, that did not come from fathers feeling like their child should get a medal just because they showed up with their uniform on, right? That came from moms who believe that, again, going back to feeling and thinking about a child's feelings instead of, once again, less logic, less rational, and more emotional led when it comes to decision making. And that goes in school too, just getting participation awards, feeling like you should be involved in something and stay the course regardless of if you truly suck at it. Okay, like a man is going to be more logical and tell you more fact and like, okay, well, this is what it is with their child. Okay, we're spending hundreds to thousands of dollars on this traveling team for this sport. How about we take this money and put it elsewhere to a different sport where our child has more talent and passion behind, versus the mom saying, no, pulling them out is going to hurt their feelings and they have friends on that team and this, you see what I'm saying? And so like I feel like our society is already there. A lot of people have more grandmother focused homes, right? A lot of people are raised by their grandmothers. Their moms didn't even raise them, right? So we're already living in that matriarchy, I think, in less patriarchal society already.
So let me say this. Let me get this super chat read, then I'm gonna respond to something you said. My man AP, $5. Miss Polly, your smile and dimples, beautiful. We need to see more of you in this space, ma'am. Casey, you already know. I love you. Good show, Trig. Appreciate it, man. You know, AP, you weirded me out, bro, because you waited until after you got married to start giving women the most direct compliments. Who them dimples? Like, look, this is actually funny. Me and my brother had this conversation, and I think I'm telling. I hope his wife's not watching. But he said, "Why is it that now that I can only look and not touch, I be looking everywhere?" He'd be like, "I've looked at so much ass since I put this ring on my finger." I thought that was so funny. That's what AP is going through right now. Whoo, look at them dimples. Because all he can do is comment. All right, AP, I'm gonna stop picking on you. But I want to respond to something. Damn, I done derailed myself. Shoot. Casey
You forgot.
But you can let me go, and then when you remember.
Oh Lord, yeah.
Go ahead. I was talking about emotions, Mike.
Yes.
With sports and stuff, and parents, and the difference between parenting, and I also talked about grandmothers and stuff, raising children and stuff now.
Oh, yes. You got, so let me jump on that real quick. So when you look at it very closely as to some of the problems we have specifically in this community, I realize that a true matriarchy is not any kind of female leadership is absent of male leadership. It doesn't overtake male leadership in any respect. You know, masculinity and femininity, it was explained to me a long time ago, are two separate energies flowing like a river alongside each other. Or, you know, in the Chinese, the yin and the yang always going in a circle, complement each other, but never cutting each other off. So in order for, you know, there to be a true matriarchy, you have to exclude the male. And I think we have a perfect storm for that in the United States. Just get custody of the children. You don't got to listen to you don't have to listen to his influence anymore. If you want them to go to school over here and y'all at odds, well, I got custody. I could. So when we talk about it, this is a perfect storm made to create what seems like a matriarchal society. Anything, because she knows if he's here, all his opinions likely gonna dominate mine. The children are even gonna have deference for him over me. Let me get him out of here, right? So it's not necessarily the matriarchy. It can't exist, you know, when a bunch of men are present and stepping up and wanting to be forthright for their family, and it can't actually exist. It has to be absent of the male entirely.
Oh, and Payne, before you go anywhere, because I got my ADHD. The guys want to say what they want. I'll leave it alone because I'll forget. When it comes to the ladies feeling particular way, I think a lot of it has to do with them feeling like when men say, "Oh, you know, this is your superpower," and then they turn around and they feel like maybe it's not a superpower because I don't feel. Oh my God, I feel like I'm winning. I don't feel like I'm winning when I'm in this position. I don't feel like I'm winning. I don't feel like it's a positive thing. And I think maybe if that we start trying to promote being in that more feminine role, there's more positivity to it. It would help some of this because like you said, women, we feel, right? We want to feel good. We want to, those aren't bad things. But then someone will turn around and be like, all you do is feel. That's stupid. And then you'll feel like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't feel anymore. Or maybe I don't want to give out the energy. But that's important too in our society. But also when you have men around, like you were saying, Casey, your your mind is on, hey, this, it doesn't work. I'm looking at you. You don't do good in this position. We need to put somebody else there. It's not about how I feel about you being in this position. It's about what the facts are, right?
Yeah,
It's not
right.
giving out productivity that I need.
Productivity,
And then
right.
that's just what it is. But as a woman, I do it. I love being like, oh my gosh, I don't care if I eat all the cake in the Cheesecake Factory. It feels so good. It tastes so good. But I know that this is a bad decision, but I still go anyway. Okay.
Like
I'm
you said
sorry I brought
today.
up cake because we got
Like,
some new cake in my restaurant. And it is fire. But I gotta stop eating the cake, but it's delightful. And see, I make bad decisions because I'm feeling, but it's not bad all the time. But I think that's this emphasis that feeling and being in that moment of euphoria is so horrible because you can't do anything with that. The devaluing of emotions is not there. So I just wanted to say that I'm so sorry, Pain, for taking over. But yeah, I think
No,
that's what
no,
it is.
that's fine. No, because
Okay.
I hear you. One of the things about feminine in the role, I think women underestimate its power because they've been convinced that it's weakness. Like I'm having work done on my house, and I always make the guys come here on Tuesday because that's when my wife is home. Right? They start, and because she's here, she's excited about some of the things we're trying to do to fix the house up. So she's like talking to these guys in the house. She would like to have things fixed, new bathroom, this and that. And after she gets finished bubbling these guys up, they want to do a perfect job. And all I could think about, and I told my wife this, if you weren't here, they'd just be throwing up sheetrock and shit for me, man. They wouldn't do a goddamn thing extra.
Mm-hmm.
For her, man, they do it, and they're making sure all the T's are squared and all that kind of stuff because she's here. And all she knows, she'll give them some water. She was cooking some soup. She had a little soup with those, plastic spoons so they could have lunch and stuff while they're working. They ain't asking for none of this. She's just doing that, right? And all these guys are coming to me and say, man, wow, thank you, man. This is a great place to work, blah, blah, blah. It's all because she's just who she is. So I think we got a whole lot more bang for our buck just because of her presence is making these dudes work extra hard. Not that they can't do a good job, but if it was just me here telling them to do shit, man, they'd be just slapping shit up, man, and all this kind. But they
You know
want
why?
to do it.
She's making them feel pain. She's making them feel. Guys aren't like, oh, let's run around with feelings all the time, right? But not saying they don't have any. But when they actually really feel like, oh, this person really is nice to me, they really are being kind. It's that moment of feeling, and that feels nice. And
that's power. But let me get back to some of the stuff we were saying. That's my super chat, Mike. What you talked about with the matriarch has to really be true. Men's presence can't be around. So in America, you're absolutely right. The people who are the puppet masters, they're men. They're not women. They're allowing this underbelly of matriarch, gynocentric kind of stuff happen because there's some financial benefit in it. I don't know why there is. And like I said, when that's over, it's going to go away. But there's some subtle things that I think a lot of us miss. Do you remember when female actresses stopped calling themselves actresses and they started calling themselves actors?
Yes, I do.
See, it was subtle, and it just went over people's head because subliminally, the women were saying being an actress is somewhat less than being an actor because there's a male and female connotation, which was not true, and it never got challenged, right? Now, let me just say one more thing.
Yeah.
Keep the thought. And that's why I really bounce back when women call men who are their husbands partners, right? I can't stand it. And what's worse is when men acquiesce to that bullshit. I tell my wife, you better never introduce me as your partner, because we ain't partners. We're not. You're my wife and I'm your husband. And the reason why that's important is because her expectations of me far outweigh my expectations of her. You know what I'm saying? What women want from their men far outweigh what he really wants from her. I mean, it's as simple as that. I have to provide until I can't provide anymore. Right? I'm not so sure the same kind of men levy that same kind of pressure on their women. So there's no equivalent. There's no equivalency to what we give each other, right? From that standpoint, right? I mean, there's some expectations we have of our ladies, and there's some expectations they have of us, and I don't think those things are equal. And then, if women really want partners, then they wouldn't be so disgusted by the notion of 50-50. Right? Because it ain't a partnership. So inherently,
bingo.
It's a partnership. You're a man, and these are your expectations, and you need to carry us. And I'm not saying the woman doesn't do anything. I'm saying if something goes wrong, nobody's going to blame your wife. Your family falls apart. Nobody blames your women. So it's not just protection. The intangibles are always weighed in on a man's side to make sure it's right. You have women. I'm gonna land here. They got women saying, "Well, men should be more emotional and all this kind of shit." Yeah, but let me cry in front of you a couple of times too often, and so let's see what happens after that. It's just all gaslighting bullshit, man. So I think men should just kind of don't argue about things that some things you just should just let bounce off your back, because sometimes people just say stuff.
Pause.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead, Mike.
The bounce off your back, I was like, whoa.
We got a Will Smith situation going on.
I appreciate it. Ikene, y'all been waiting.
What's up? How you guys doing tonight?
What's going on?
What's up? Let me get this super chat from AP, and then you got it, Ikene. My man AP with the $5. Be careful, Payne. The milkman created other men's families for them. No. He wasn't ready. No, not the milkman. Damn. Ain't no. That's why there ain't no more milkman.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember the days of the milkman.
Man, we were just talking about that whole family down the street thing. But I said, you know what? There's nothing new under the sun. Everybody's trifling, and everybody been trifling. If your daddy or your grandfather had another family down the street, then if paternity testing was as prevalent as it is now, your mama probably had other men's babies in his own house. Trust me. Everybody been trifling. There's nothing new under the sun. But you got it, Ikene.
Yeah. When some people, how you guys doing, fellas? Right now, what's up? Chat, and how you guys doing in the chat? So this is what life is. When people say that they don't want patriarchy, they gotta understand that there is no matriarchy. Patriarchy created matriarchy. So a man made a woman a woman. If a man didn't get you pregnant, you can't be a woman. You're a female, but you become a woman the moment a man makes you a woman. So one other thing in it is this. Some people will say that they want to be a partner. They want to be in leadership. As women, they love leadership, they love to be in partnership, but they don't like the responsibility that comes with partnership. Neither do they like the responsibility that that is number one. Then number two, they don't also like the responsibility. They are what do they call it? The consequences that come with it. When you are a leader, you have responsibility, and you also have to deal with the consequences. Meaning that if things go wrong, The consequences are on your shoulder. You're going to be held responsible, and then you suffer the consequences. So women don't like that responsibility because with responsibility comes consequence. How can you have a functioning society without patriarchy? It's not going to happen because patriarchy puts in place rules and regulations. But you got to understand that throughout history, women, not every woman, we have to be careful, not every woman, because a lot of women do follow rules and regulations. But the certain is that the few that don't are the loudest mouths. They have the speaker, they have the microphone, they blow their horn, and one of them sound like 10,000 of the ones that follow rules. It's a very sad thing. We see it throughout YouTube, we see it in person, we see it in churches, we see it everywhere. In every 100 women, there is the crazy one. And that crazy one overshadows the whole 100. Because she got to be heard. Yes, like Pen said, you know my partner, I've always said it. She's my wife, not my partner. Because if things go down, she's going to be like, but you the man. That's the problem. She's going to say, but you the man. But when you remind her that, no, you said it's partnership, she will be like, you're on your own. She will not want to take that. She will avoid it. She will run with it. In fact, she will run upstairs and she will leave you downstairs to face those criminals that busted into the house. She will even lock the door behind your back with the children in it. So you got to face them. But she forgot that she was the one saying that we partners. You're not partners when criminals show up to your house. You're not partners anymore. Now you're the husband. But every day she calls you a partner. She put it in your enough. But as soon as there's a security threat, she start calling your name to go deal with that. So the thing is this, as men, I've told us many times, you have to tune the ones that don't want to listen, tune them out and do what you have to do as a man. Put your foot down and take charge of your household. If the West tells her that she has the power, let her raise the kids, fight for custody, fight for shared custody, and show that because she can only mess you up, she can only do that with you for 18 years. That's it. After 18 years, her feathers are clipped, so she can't fly no more. Now you can be the man of the house again over your children.
Come on, man. Take it too long. Get to the point.
Yeah, I was thinking that you going, Rush.
Wrap it up, man. You take it too
Go
long.
ahead and Rush. Let me come on cam for me, so I know you're a real person. I'll let you up. What's going on, Lord Geartron?
It's Jatron, but how y'all feeling this evening?
Oh, my bad. Gatron?
Jatron.
Jatron. Okay, got it.
Jatron. That's how it's pronounced.
Jatron. Got you.
How y'all feeling this evening? You all right, Mike?
Hey, man, we good, bro. We good, bro. What you got
It's
on?
been a couple of months since me and you had an interaction on the same panel. I like to collaborate or interact with you a little bit more frequently on these panels, if that's okay.
No doubt.
I got a lot to share. I just like
what
to
you got
start
on
off by saying, I like to start off by saying it is absolutely paramount, tantamount that we have a patriarchy. Number one, man was created in the image of God, not woman. Man. Woman was created from the man, from a rib, as a complement of the man, as a helper to procreate and help nest the home in the garden and to expand on man's exploration and conquest of the planet. But let's not get biblical. I'm not going to get too biblical. Bottom line, I got my little girlfriend laying here right now with me. And I told her straight up, we as men are willing to go through a wall for our women and our families, go through a brick wall, work ourselves into an early grave That's why women outlive us. We will work ourselves into an early grave to supply a house and comfortability in a secure future for her and our children and grandchildren after us. I recently told her, because her and I don't have any children, I recently told her something I think is the only time it's ever been said in human history. I think I coined the phrase. I told her, as a man who really truly loves you as my woman, I love you with all my heart. I'm gonna love you. Ladies, take heed to this, because when you got a man and he tells you he loves you, he means this. This is real emotional intelligence, gang. Listen carefully. I'm gonna love you more than you're capable of loving yourself. You understand me? Even with your self-love, you're not gonna love yourself more than I'm gonna love you. You can't. I'm a man created in the image of God. I'm the purpose for your existence. What I'm gonna do for you as your man and choosing you as my woman, you can't do for yourself. It's impossible. You don't even have the physical capability to do it. Seriously. I'm gonna love you, women, more than you're capable of loving yourselves. And with that being said, the example of that is if you go throughout human history, men of war, men of valor, conquerors, and so on and so forth, went to war and were willing to die, not simply for their country, but because they had women and children at home, who the sacrifice was worth it. When we give y'all women a title of wife, when you achieve the title as wife, you achieve the greatest honor that can be bestowed upon a woman in the entire history of humanity. There's no other title that you can carry that's more honorable than being wife. Not vice president, not CEO of a company, not maid of honor, not school principal, not valedictorian, not president of a PT, no title that you can hold. Chief of police, mayor, sheriff, whatever. No title you can hold is more honorable and higher than being a wife. And when a man bestows that upon you, first of all, only a man can bestow that upon you. But when he bestows that upon you, you've been endowed. That man is entrusting you with his whole life. Our competence, we subdue the earth and make it comfortable for you women. If it weren't for women, men would walk around naked and live in caves. We would walk around naked and live in caves if it wasn't for women. We make the world comfortable for you.
I might have some clothes on, bro, but yes.
But the point that I'm making is the fact that we engineer clothing, we subdue wool, and then when we got to the new world, subdue cotton for clothing. That was for women's comfort.
Indeed.
You understand what I'm saying? The infrastructure, the laws, the equality laws is for women's comfort. Now, while I'm saying patriarchy and men are more competent, I will leave it with this. I got to get in my inner simp. I got to do it because I think it's honorable and truthful, because I believe in God and I read the Bible. Women are more soul and more spiritually connected than men, because men have denser muscle, denser bone. Women's bones and muscles are not as dense. We've got a bigger lung capacity, bigger hearts, we're bigger. We're more than them, but the blood is equal. And it says the blood is the soul. So women and men's blood is identical. It has identical properties, qualities, content, density. Everything's identical when it comes to the blood. And it says the soul is in the blood, which means the blood has more impact and effect on women, which means they're more soul than men are. So what I mean by that is, because of my belief in spirituality, women deserve honor and cherishment from men. We're supposed to treat women equal to or better than ourselves. That's what makes us men. We have the strength and the self-sacrificing ability to do it. But God tells us to do it because he knows what women are, how special women are in comparison to us. So I just wanted to leave it at that, folks. And let's just bring our communities back together. Let's quit all this vitriol and all this hatred. We got to deal with we as men, we got to deal with the women's past. We got to deal with their past. All our women got a fucked up past.
You out of your goddamn mind. You are out of your goddamn mind.
Wrong. You know, I was with you.
You are out of your
I was with you.
mind.
What I mean by that, what I mean by that is,
I don't have to deal with shit.
What I mean by that is,
no woman's
what I mean by that is,
he seems so much that he wouldn't even let me talk. And he's going for like 30 minutes, wouldn't even let me talk.
He been
because he said too much.
When is he gonna land the plane?
Let me clarify.
Finish up, Jerome. Finish up.
Okay, what I mean by we got to deal with their past, I'm not talking about specific women in general. I'm not talking about any groups of women. What I mean is we are not virgins, men or women, number one. Number two, if you're willing to fuck a woman, this is my personal mentality. If you're willing to fuck a woman, that means number one, you're actually willing to take the risk of putting a child in that woman. That's number one. Number two, as men who have some content and substance to ourselves, the self-sacrificing spirit of a man, you shouldn't want just for your children's sake to bring any children into this world that are illegitimate outside of wedlock. So if you're willing to fuck a woman, you should be willing to marry that woman. Real shit. Because you're willing to put a baby in her. And for the sake of your children.
Does everybody who have sex, do they have a child every time they have sex?
No, the point is the potential is there for it. I'm not talking about.
You have the potential to make $1 billion. Are you a billionaire?
Man, we're not. You're comparing peanuts to apples. That's
no,
not the same equivalent. That's not the same.
Man. Can we move on to somebody else? That makes no sense, bro.
It does make sense because here's the problem. Based on the thing you said about the $1 billion, you're speaking from a lost value system perspective and point of view, where God plays no role in your existence.
Rambling and
hold on, y'all. Let me get this.
Right, I'm rambling. Hold
on, y'all. Let me get a super chat. Then we got to get
my bad. I'm rambling.
Yeah, no doubt. We're gonna get a super chat. Lord G, didn't you tell Egan A to wrap it up? Land the plane. It's supposed to be a short flight. My man.
No question. No question.
Man, I can't even believe what the hell he did. He wouldn't even let me talk. But then he came back and spoke twice what I said. Some people are full of shit.
You got no right. You need time on the Trigger Mike show. The Trigger Mike. We got a meter of who talks. It says Trigger Mike, Egan A. We neck and neck. All right, hold on. Rush, welcome to the Trigger Mike show, Uncomfortable Convos. What you got for us, bro? Patriarchy versus Matriarchy.
Salute to everybody on the panel. Salute to you, Trigger Mike. I'm a big fan of your show. You know what I mean? I be in the clouds watching your joint. Definitely be dropping some jewels out here. You heard? Yo, salute to this young king over here, Lord. I can't pronounce your name or whatever, but you definitely a righteous brother, and I understand where you're coming from with that. But with Trey, you know, I also feel him too. Because in this new age that we're living in, man, we got to stay sucker free, you know, because a lot of these women out here, man, they moving foul, man. You know what I mean? For example, man, look at Cassie, right? Now, you know, I might catch some smoke, and I'm ready for the smoke. You bring it. You know what I mean? I think she, you know what I mean? She full of cow manure, man. How you gonna wait 20 years later saying that a man, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Ran up on you on a non-consensual manner. Now you lying, you know what I mean? You out for the check. Now if the man really
now we got a show. God damn.
Now if the man really now if the man really bent you over, right? Now if the man really bent you over in a non-consensual manner, it's your duty to put him in prison because you don't want him to you know what I mean, move like that on the next female. You know what I mean? She out there for a check. And her bum ass boyfriend is looking for that check too. Nigga need to get a second job, you heard? Yo, salute to this young king, man. I feel you where you coming from with this, you heard? You know what I mean?
We definitely heard, my man. I ain't gonna lie.
Trey, I feel where you coming from, Trey.
It took me about the 7th time to realize that you said non-consensual. I was sitting here like, what? Non-consensual. All right.
Hey, Rush, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, brother. She's telling the truth. I know it's unfortunate. I know a lot of guys don't want to believe this, but Diddy is a shiesty dude. He's always been a shiesty dude. And
listen. I know he's not a saint. The man is not a saint, but why are you going to wait? 2 things. Why are you going to wait 20 years after, right, to make these false allegations? And 2, why are you trying to get a check? I mean, shouldn't she be her duty to put him in prison so he don't You know what I mean? Do that to the next female. You know what I mean?
No,
Obviously, she's
no.
out for the bread, man. And her bum
Yes,
ass boyfriend need to get a second
all
job,
are.
you heard?
They all are though. What is Cassie doing that's anything new from what women of the past have always done? This is nothing new. The only thing that they're doing now is they're actually foregoing the criminal procedures now. They've actually gotten smart enough to realize that they're not going to get anywhere with the criminal procedures, so they just skip straight to the civil procedures now. Deshaun Watson had the same problem, right? And there have been other people who have had the same problem now. Antonio Brown had the same issue, but she went straight to the civil procedures.
Hey Trey, I just want to ask
you. I didn't interrupt you one bit, bro. You had that entire dissertation.
No. I just wanted to get your feedback on something that you just said. Like I'm with you, bro. Listen, the stuff that I said as far as dealing with women's past and so on and so forth, all that lovey-dovey simp shit. I admitted it that it was gonna be some simp sounding shit before I said it. I knew, like, bro, I'm red pill all the way, bro. I'm with you on what you're saying, Trey. But I'm also saying though, I've incorporated my spirituality into things, bro. And I'm looking at it from a biblical and a spiritual point of view. And we're all imperfect. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying give grace. What I'm saying is they're only human and they're weaker than us. It's up to us as the stronger.
Do they?
Like,
do
we're
they know
created
that?
in an image of God. We're created in an image of God. Women are
do
not.
they know that? Do they know that?
Wait,
that's why
you just see you keep doing it as we speak. You guys are literally doing what I just said 20 minutes ago. You keep making this sound as if being feminine is weaker than you. Like you literally
no,
saying
you are weaker. Hey, okay. Look, baby, look, you're right.
No, stop, pause.
You were correct.
No, pause. I didn't say that. Listen
you
what
did.
I'm
You're
saying.
correct in what you're
No,
saying.
listen.
You're correct.
Listen. Okay. You're not listening.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying to you is what I just said was women feel like it is a negative thing. You're literally saying it. This is what I was saying. If you're making something seem as if it is below and beneath and negative, then you're basically saying it's not as good. Regardless, it's just different.
Right.
All right.
I respect. Hey, look.
So I don't even have. Not only are you right. Hold on, real quick, Lord G. You're right. But don't women also naturally put themselves in that position by their expectations of men? I think it's sending mixed signals. Every chance you get, you see that women are saying, dominate me or dominate the situation, or I can't respect you. So aren't they asking us to be stronger than them? Not that you're weaker than us. Aren't women always constantly asking the men that they deal with to be stronger than them? So it would make sense to say, even though it pisses them off to say it, that you are expecting the inner relationship to be weaker than your man.
I agree. What I'm saying is that if you're dealing with women and you know you are, and you know you're dealing with their emotions, that's not about what you said, it's how you say it.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's about being stronger than
Mike.
them. I think it might be being more competent than them. If they want an actual leader, I'm sure they're looking for competency, right? You want an idiot to be following behind. I'm not completely sure that equals in strength. Now, whether that's mental, emotional, or physical or not, I'm not completely sure. But I would imagine that these women, when they say these things, they're talking about somebody who actually has a plan and can execute.
Facts, Trey. Facts. But Trigger Mike, I just like to reply to Miss M.
Go ahead.
She's right. She's right in what she's saying as far as how it sounds insulting. But I'm speaking from a spiritual and a biblical point of view because I believe in the God of the Bible and I believe in the Bible. Okay. In the Bible, it says women are weaker. And let me elaborate on that. The reason why it's able to say weaker is because men are weak. We're all imperfect. When it says women are weaker, right behind that, God gives men the command to cherish our women and treat them better than we treat ourselves. That's when God speaks, the stuff that's in the Bible, that's not advice. That's not a suggestion. That's not an opinion. When God speaks, the whole Bible is God's word. When God speaks, that's a commandment. That's an order. That is a law.
What kind of women was he talking about?
Huh?
What kind of women
It
was he
said
talking?
all women. It said
So,
all
re-
women.
No, he's talking about no.
regardless
God
of
was
them
talking
being
about baby mama three, baby mama and run
Right,
downs
yeah.
and run
In the book
throughs.
of Hosea. In the book of
Look at your
Hosea.
man. Just go rest your damn mouth, man.
Okay, but look, in the book of Hosea, God told Hosea to take a prostitute as a wife. In the Mosaic law, priests weren't supposed to take prostitutes.
Right. Yeah.
They were supposed to marry virgins. God told Hosea to take a prostitute as a wife for the simple fact God was showing what he felt as far on a spiritual level by his people betraying him and chasing after other gods. Yeah.
Right,
The
because he
equivalent to
possessed the
that.
divine spirit, he held a steadfast spirit to still pursue the prostitute. Word up.
Right.
Yeah, I feel you on that. You right on that.
So
man.
the point is, because God kept taking his people back, even though they were worshiping false gods, he was showing man through that example that, bro, these women are gonna be the same. Bro, we got to deal with a stronger gender. The only savior they have is through us. The reason why sin is on the man's hands, even though Eve ate first, because God gave the command to Adam, the man, not to eat. He didn't give it the command to the woman. He gave it to Adam.
Well, here's how this is gonna go. I'm gonna do the opposite, and then I'll stand before God and I'll just take my punishment when it comes. Because this shit sounds crazy. It sounds ridiculous.
I know it sounds crazy.
It sounds ridiculous to me. Regardless of what God told, I'm not turning a hoe into a housewife under any circumstances.
No, it's not about turning a hoe into a housewife. It's not about turning a hoe into a housewife.
Let me get command of the con. The Lauren Mack $2 says, if feminine energy is bad, what is the alternative? That is a good freaking question. Let me start off by saying this.
Well, first, nobody said feminine energy is bad.
False narrative. Feminine energy is actually not bad. It's necessary. Feminine energy is also maternal energy. It is a healing energy. And that's actually, I think, one of its greatest and most useful purposes. All right. So I've never said feminine energy is bad. I think there is a part of the healing nature from women being feminine that can be manipulative. And that's what we see more of today, being passed off as feminine energy, right? Doing for self, your selfishness, girl power, black girl, like all that shit that's used as a weapon to prop girls up at the expense of boy. Yeah, that's okay. Let's call it toxic femininity.
May I interject?
Yeah, and then I want Casey to go. Y'all chop it up. Go ahead, Rush, and then Casey, you got it.
All right, cool. Yo, definitely, I feel where Trey coming from. I'm definitely an advocate on staying sucker free. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of sucker shit going on in these streets out here. And he right, man. You definitely gotta remain steadfast on your principle and make sure you don't let these smuts in the streets out here, swindle you of having a baby or marrying them. But I also feel where Laura coming from, because and this is for the brothers that want to live a consecrated lifestyle and serve the Most High. Now I mean, on the things that Lord, I can't pronounce your name, so forgive me for that, brother. But Lord, he do got a good point on that. But from Trey's perspective, I feel him on it too, because we got to stay sucker free out here, because these dudes getting played like fiddles out here. You heard?
Hey, Rush, hear me out, bro. Trey is actually more right than me as far as the culture we live in. What I'm saying, I know is rare, weird, unique, different, oddball, odd man out. Bro, I'm red pill to the bone, bro. I recognize what I'm saying is completely controversial to the red pill. I understand that, bro. I'm on y'all side of when it comes to in real time reality, when I'm out and about, I'm on y'all side of it. That's why I said before I started talking, I'm going to channel my inner simp. I already knew what I was saying was rah-rah. I already knew that. I'm not trying to persuade anybody of anything. I'm just saying how it can be done, how it can be changed, and how it can be turned around. We have to implement some spirituality, number one, and number two, be willing to accept the setback and the pitfall of who and what we're dealing with. That's all I was saying. That's the only way it can be done. I'm not saying to do it. I'm not saying to do it because I got a passport. You know what I'm saying? I got a passport.
Yeah.
I'm laying.
Yeah.
I already let my shorty know she's right here. She's right here listening. I already let her know if me and her don't work out, I'm out of here.
Hey,
I done been all around the world already.
Giatron, you know, one thing, and we gotta let the sister speak.
I was gonna say you skipping over Casey.
Listen, Trey, well, listen. You know, I hear what you're saying. I don't agree, but I give a man grace if he wants to live that way. I think the standards we set should be higher than that. I tell my daughters and I tell women that is your responsibility to maintain some virtue. And that's just
right, but
it's not a man. It's not a man. Spiritually, if I have a advice to tell a woman, I would say you need to try to maintain your virtue. And that doesn't say I'm saying you need to be a virgin. I'm saying you need to maintain your virtue because you are accountable for your womb. And if you give that shit away, you got to take the consequences that go along with that shit. And I'm not going to absolve you of that based on no other spiritual shit other than I told you, because I don't think God goes around telling women they could be hoes and the men are going to come and say, listen, we'll hook you up later on. No, he ain't saying that shit. Get out of here. You know, so but if a man chooses to do that, that's cool, because God did give Mary Magdalene some grace, right? Whoever throws the first stone had no sin. She was a metaphor.
Yeah, bro. Let he with no sin cast the first stone.
That's right. Yeah. So
the man with no sin, you throw the first stone.
Yeah. So
you pull the trigger. If you ain't got no sin, you go pull the trigger on these modern women.
So the point I'm saying is, he gave her grace, but based on the Bible, I didn't hear no man wifing her ass up either. She you know what I'm saying?
That's why I brought up. That's why I brought up the. That's why I brought up the example in Hosea. That's why I brought up the example in Hosea. You got to read the whole Bible. In Hosea, God commanded Hosea.
Can we just let Casey go?
Yeah, man. Let me leave that.
Ladies, let the ladies talk. Let the ladies talk.
No, I've already spoken twice, guys, on the subject. I'm really just listening and being.
Yeah, let me. I got another little thing here. This poem guy from DC, but I just want to speak. I want to speak on what he's talking about after we watch the video. He spit bars, but I want to see if there's something deeper he's trying to allude to. Y'all stay tuned for the video real quick.
And Steve Harvey. Man, that man cheated on his wife with his mistress, married his mistress and has kids with his daughter, jumped from one relationship to the next with no intention. So all that relationship advice you be listening to about love, he should have given to his children. The only time you want equality is when it's beneficial to your agenda. Love, this ain't a poem, this is an intervention. She be talking about how her grandfather took care of her grandmother. Well, that's that grown man's business, and the woman that your grandmother is doesn't correlate to the woman that's being mentioned. Stop acting like you don't want hookah drinks and a good night. A nightcap with your night bag while getting hit from behind. She gonna go for brunch and mimosas. Trust me, it works every time. She gonna be yelling out the window how she outside and she fuck nigga free, but she want a husband in the same line. Love, when the family feuds in real life, it ain't a game show. And if love don't cost a thing, how come you keep asking for things you can't even bring to the table? Poem.
First off, that dude, you can almost hear what part of DC he from. That shit funny as hell. Goodness gracious. I went to school with all DC people, man. It's crazy. Let's get this super chat real quick. My man Big M with the $10 says, let's just be honest here about the Bible. Everything started going wrong with Adam and Eve because Adam caught Eve creeping with pain, and Adam caught them. And it's been wrong. And it's been wrong since.
Hey, listen, man, don't be calling me no damn serpent, man. Shit. You know what I'm saying?
That dude said, you've been around for what, 2 millennia? Goodness gracious. All right. What do you let's get anybody's thoughts. Walt, I see you just came and joined us. What do you think about that? What that dude was saying in that poem?
I think he was speaking facts. We all know women who double-minded, who say they want one thing but they act another way. So it ain't really, I mean, that's just generation of modern women. They say they want to be wives, and they say they want, you know what I'm saying, providers, but then they don't want what comes with that. If a man gonna be providing for you, he also gonna have authority over you. It ain't gonna be no my way or the highway. It's gonna be his way or the highway. But a lot of they don't want that. They don't want that authority. They want to live life like a sugar baby. They want all the benefits and no authority over them. And they mad that the average black man don't want that. So that's the way I look at it.
Word. No, I think that when he said brunch and mimosas, that's the joke I keep making now, man. Look, man, I don't know how much longer, because I live in H-Town. Everybody come here for Sunday fun day. Now I'm looking at stories of people that are, my age, late 30s, going into 40s, and I'm asking myself, especially the ladies. This is the thing about the ladies. When ladies say, "Well, why do y'all make it about us?" I'm trying to figure out what are you trying to paint? What story are you trying to paint for your life? Because when we think about somebody who's educated, when we think about somebody who either has children or wants a family, you start to think this person behaves in a certain way and presents themselves to the world in a certain way. And right now, I feel as though I can't lock down how the modern woman wants to be portrayed. On Sunday, it is like he said, F nigga free, and I'm independent. I don't need anybody. On Monday and Tuesday, she's on a podcast saying, well, we do need husbands and we need men to step up. So, I would like some consistency here, because there's really only one way we all should be living. I present myself in the world in a very particular way. I need people to know that I'm always about family. I'm not leaving my family for no reason. I'll put 2 middle fingers in anybody's face that tries to make me believe anything, is better than being a husband and a father, right? So that's all I'm saying. I wish they would present themselves out to the world in a way that's consistent and representative of what they want it for their future. Because I can't really tell. But what are y'all thoughts?
Check it out, man. I'm gonna say it like this, and I'm gonna get up out of here. Like we meant for each other. Men and women are meant to be together. We gotta progenate the species. We gotta procreate. We gotta procreate. Number one, in order to keep the species surviving, in order to have civilization and society, we gotta have family. We gotta have families. Without families, there's no order. There's no civilization. You just have a bunch of people running around. You have chaos. You have anarchy, because you have no concrete and you have no foundational basis. We gotta have family. And on next thought, I just like to say, bro, let he without sin cast the first stone. Like, these women got past. We got to get past that. We got past. We done been burnt. Look. I'm not saying do it, but what I am saying is think deeper than yourself. We're men. We're men because we're able to look beyond ourselves. We're able to live and look at things more important than ourselves. That's what makes us men. That's what makes us in the image of God.
What's more important than picking the right woman?
What's more important than picking the right woman is keeping God's commandment. That's what's more important than picking the right woman. There's a lot of things more important than picking the right woman. God first, country second, family third. Because without America, your family has no future. America is the only country on earth where within the law, the preamble to the Constitution, within the law, we can live for today and plan for tomorrow for our children. It's the only country that provides for that, our posterity. But without our women, we have no future. We got to progenate the species. And we have to have families in order to do that, to keep America, the society that we have, intact and in order. Without families, America crumbles and falls apart because you're doing away with the building blocks of society. Family, nuclear family, is the building blocks of society. And America is the only country where you can build for the future of your family. Listen, think, man.
Can I interrupt you, Lord G, for just 1 second? Everything that you're saying is correct. But the video was really talking about women who are not virtuous women, like our pain was stated, right?
None of the men are virtuous men.
They're not women that are meant to be wives that you would want to have over.
That's why you got to beat it into them. That's why you got to implement some spirituality.
But it
got to implement spirituality.
But it also starts, right? It starts within the home. It starts within the home.
It starts with the man.
We're raising a daughter, and we're going to make sure that she grows up to understand what her role is in this world and who she's supposed to be and who she is.
But what is her role?
Right?
What is her role? Her
role and her rightful duty is next to her husband and in this world contributing.
What's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? What's the word?
Contributing. I don't know, Lord G.
Wife.
What word? Yeah,
wife.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said, to her husband.
We have to raise our daughters to be wives.
To her husband, yes. And so she's gonna have to know her rightful role and carry herself in that way so that a husband can choose her, right? Because she can be a wife all day, or if she's not a wife, she will not seem appealing to a man to choose her. So it's a circle. It's an absolute circle.
We're beyond that point right now.
Women are talking out of both sides of their neck. They're saying that they want one thing, but they're behaving and ending up into a never-ending cycle of women without husbands, and they end up in communities only together without men, because men can't do anything with a woman who won't be in submission and won't be in line with him in the order of things.
Yes, he can, but his problem is he got to stop dealing with so many different women. If he focuses his attention and energy on one woman, like it says in the Bible, those who God loves, he disciplines. No discipline at the time that you're going through it is joyous, but painful. The point of the matter is,
if I don't believe
the man is supposed to drill it into her.
How does that work?
No.
If I don't
a grown man can't come and re-raise a grown woman. That's not gonna work. It doesn't work that way. That's not equally yoked. That's not how a man should choose. You don't choose a wife that way. If the only way a man is gonna get a woman that way and be able to mold her is the way God designed it, is in her early 20s, where she is still impressionable and she's still open to learn.
Early 20s is too late now.
Where we are, if she was already raised to be a wife, right? I was raised to be a wife. I met my husband at 22, or 23. So my husband, we molded and shaped to each other, and I already was raised to understand. I already had those principles ingrained in me. These women don't have any principles. They don't have any values. They don't have a father. They don't have anything. So a man meeting a woman at 35, thinking that he's gonna re-raise her so that she can raise his children is insane. It's not gonna happen.
Facts.
It's not gonna happen.
That's why.
That's why you use the women for what they're good for. Use them for sex.
That's
you're going about your business. You're going
toxic trade strikes again.
I'm being serious. She just said it herself. They're not. Listen, there are girls out here who are doing anal sex at the age of 14. This shit is over. You guys are living in another world if you think that we're going to get these Proverbs 31 virtuous. That shit is done. It is a lost cause. We are not going back to that time. Hang on a second, bro. You talk enough. Listen for a second. Don't interrupt. Just listen. Those days are over. The problem with our community is we keep wanting to try to go back to a time that doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. Let it go. It's not coming back.
Trey,
I want to say one thing.
Can I just say, Trey, you said that ain't no sex at 14. That was happening around me at 14 too. That's been happening. That's not new. But at the end of the day, you have to be in order and be in charge of your own family and what's coming out of your household. I knew that was going on around me, but I knew that that's not how I was raised, and I wasn't lowering who I am just because I was around other races of girls that were doing that at 14, 15 years old.
Casey, has it gotten worse or better?
It's gotten worse, Trey. It's gotten worse. I'm gonna be real with you.
I wanted to say one thing, is that we cannot compare men and women sexually, because there's one big factor that a lot of people miss, is that men take sex and women give sex up. So it's like, we cannot lose grasp of that, because like I said before, it's like a battery. You got the positive and you got the negative, as we all know. And when he said earlier, when Geotron said earlier that that men have a past and women have a past, when a man has a past, it is way different than when a woman has a past, because a woman's past, it molds her into what she's going to be, even on a physical level with her vagina and everything, and how she gets used to all of the men she's been with. They get molded like that, whereas a man, we don't get molded in that way. We get molded by our experience, but a woman's experience is more with men is much more important than our experiences with women. So that's a factor that I think we all should always keep in mind. So when women say, "Oh, well, it's the same thing," it's not.
You're absolutely correct. You're correct. It's nowhere near the same.
Who's saying it's the same?
No, it's implied. It's implied, but I think earlier Geotron said that that men have past too, and women, so basically when we say when a woman has a past and she has like a large body counter, going down those lines, and then they were saying, "Oh, man has a past too," but a man's past can actually help you.
So let me.
What I mean by past, I absolutely know what you're saying, bro. I understand attraction is not symmetrical. I understand sexuality is not equivocal. I understand we're not equal to women. I understand this. We're the stronger vessel. Women are the weaker vessel. What I was trying to imply and say, as the stronger vessel, and the fact that we have a past as far as being imperfect men. We're imperfect. We have a past.
You know what?
We have something in our past that we're not proud of.
What I will say, go though, Lord G, look throughout history. The impurity of women has always been frowned upon, and it's been a non-negotiable for the men that women want. Ultimately, it's not that she had to be the cleanest thing. It's almost as if nobody else know, this woman, at least don't embarrass me. Look as good as you can on paper and outwardly to society, so I can marry you. It has been a strong non-negotiable for men, and this is actually one of the reasons I talk and come down on women so hard, is because they suffer the consequence for their promiscuity far more than I ever have or ever will in my life. All of them will suffer from it. They don't see it. That's why we need to educate them. All right? I was wildly promiscuous, if that's such a thing to say to describe a man's out in these streetsisms. I was wildly promiscuous. It had
Why do
no
you want
bearing.
to save them? Why do y'all want to save these women? So
It has no bearing on the
because
type
they're
of
human. Because they're human.
Y'all
They
want
are
to save
human.
them so badly. They're not listening. They don't care. Like, why do you want to save them? They don't care.
They're human.
If they want to go out and be hoes, go be hoes. Nobody's stopping you.
But
Trey, look at it this way, right? Men that have messed up in life so bad are looking for women that are damaged like them. You see what I'm saying? You, Trey, Trigger Mike, some of us are upright men. We have sense of culture, sense of responsibility. We put ourselves through the best, and we strive to achieve the best. We're not going to settle for women that are trifling. We're not going to do that. So if he's coming here, telling us that we should accept Keisha from the streets, it's not going to happen.
Who is telling you to accept these women?
So if he's telling he's telling us that we should accept women for their defaults and whatever, no, we're not going to accept that, because you're not going to go have a child for a bookie and expect me to raise a Pookish child and forgive Keisha for her mistake. How to the know?
Who is telling you to do this? Point them out.
That's what he's telling us to do.
No, point them out. Who's
No,
telling you
that's
this?
not what I'm telling you to do.
That guy right there. That guy right there with the black woman beater.
He's coming from a spiritual standpoint, and let him have it. These Bible thumpers. This is the way.
Bible never told us to do that.
Operate the way they operate. That's fine. It doesn't work. They can talk. These Bible thumpers can talk all they want. What are the results? The results show this world is in chaos. It ain't working.
They ain't chaos.
It's not working.
Well,
all this want to save women, want to educate women, it's not working. The moment we as men in this patriarchy decided to allow women to become more sexually liberated, to become more free, the moment we allowed them to get credit cards and bank accounts, everything went to shit. Because we knew, just like Trigger Mike said a long time ago, that you have to keep your thumb on women. And if you don't do that, these are the results.
This is true,
though. You're trying to go back to a time that we will never be able to go back to because they had a taste of freedom. Would slaves have gone back to slavery? No, they would not have. They have they tasted it. They understand what it feels like. They're never going back to that. If anything, their promiscuity is only getting worse as we continue on. Now they've learned how to monetize their promiscuity.
Yep. We passed the tipping point. We passed the tipping point, and it's almost set for judgment, man. Because this is really, really bad, man. I mean, it started with social media giving everybody a camera. Now everybody thinks that they're their own personal actor and celebrity and their own idol in their own eyes. So you can't tell nobody, and you can't tell nobody nothing. You can't. Everybody has the ego of a Hollywood star, and it doesn't even matter. However you are in reality, you don't even see yourself like that. So this is like severe brainwashing going on. People have been severely brainwashed, and vanity has just run amok.
Look, this is the problem, right?
Trey, it's funny. You are absolutely 100% correct on this one. I did a video called "Female Promiscuity Shapes the Sexual Marketplace," and it absolutely does. And you can, it's actually measurable, and it's so I mean, I don't have to get into that one, but I really believe that you're right. There's no going back. But a lot of people just keep glossing over where it started. It started when 3 men collaborated and got the FDA to put out the birth control pill, where women could have sex indiscriminately without worried about getting pregnant. And a lot of people don't really realize that. To me, that's exactly the nexus where they became free and free of the bonds of really worrying about pregnancy the way they used to. And once they started going into the workforce and the marketplace and being around men, it just kept snowballing downhill. And, whether men allowed it or not, it just was an inevitable thing based on how our society was changing. And now here we are.
Can I say something on that? I think let me tell you when I believe it started, and this may be controversial, but I want you guys to hear me out. I believe this started with R&B music all the way back in the day, because R&B music gave women an appetite to receive worship. 90s? No, way before that. I'm talking about like Ray Charles and them. And it was even in the movie. There was a point where Ray Charles, Jamie Foxx, Ray Charles, but he was playing in a club, and a pastor walked in there, and he said, "You turning God's music into sex, pretty much." And it gave a woman an appetite to receive worship from men. So instead of music being theme based, to where it was like, we could talk about a theme that had nothing to do with a sexuality, and we can enjoy music like jazz or anything like that. Now it has to be like songs like Maxwell, for example. When he just as an example, he says, "You're the highest of the high." So these women have an appetite to receive worship from men musically. So now that messed them up way back in the day.
More than one thing could be true at the same time, brother. More than one thing could be true. Couple that with the fact that they can couple that with the fact that they can have sex indiscriminately because they have a pill. So I mean, it could be more than one thing. So it could be a collection of things. You know, with men, as far as I'm concerned, men are the same.
Hey, gentlemen, I just want to let y'all know I'm gonna call it an evening. I got to do inventory tomorrow. I got to count it up. I count all the alcohol. So,
Miss Polly, have a good night.
Have a good
one.
Thank you for wearing a shirt tonight. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Miss Polly.
Enjoyed you.
Miss Polly, thank you for not giving us a heart attack.
Hey, can I say something to Trey? Can I say something to Trey right quick? Hey, Trey,
Hold on,
brother.
Trey got to say something to Miss Polly. He got to shoot his shot.
I don't have nothing to say. I appreciate the covering up of the cleavage tonight and not distracting the gentleman on the panel. Like you have a tendency to do.
Hey, Miss Polly, you my baby. I ain't trying to. Hey, I'm just playing. You my baby.
You know, hey, look, it's getting a little cold outside, Miss Polly. They do make turtlenecks and mock necks. If you want to invest in sweaters, if you want to invest.
I just don't think my partners like, if it gets too far, they are very vocal. They'll let me know. But for now, they're fine with what
I'm not gonna lie. That shit's gonna get me for like ever. When she puts the plural on the partners, that's just gonna it's gonna throw me every time. Like, yeah, my partners. I'm like, what? Every time I'm like, what? You're what?
What? Who?
What?
Yeah, but guess what? She's saying it right. She's saying it right. You know why she's saying it right? Because those are her partners. She's right about that. Those are her partners. They're not her husband. So she got it right. I agree with her on that one.
Right,
I just want to say something to Trey. Hey, Trey, can I say something to you real quick, bro?
Go ahead.
Hey, as far as everything you were saying, as far as you didn't work yourself up, damn these bras and all that, bro, I'm agreeing with you. Like, I'm 100% in agreement with you. Me and you done been on the panel before months ago where we didn't tag team and beat shit down. Like, I agree with you on a whole lot of stuff. What I was just getting at is,
whoa,
I'm gonna need you to rephrase that.
Whoa.
My bad. Pause. My point. I'm just speaking proper. I'm just speaking proper English, man.
I was like,
I have never done it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. My point that I'm making is, like, the only way we can save our society, it has to be patriarchal, and we as men, as the dominant gender, the dominant sex, we have to beat it into our women to submit. We have to beat it into her. But the thing is, we have to hear me out.
Hang on. I disagree with you. At the end of the day, to me, a woman will submit because she sees a reason to submit. If she chooses not to, she chooses not to. I'm moving on. I say this all the time to women. This train is moving forward. You can either get on the train or get left. That's how it works. It's one or the other.
We need shame.
Here's what we do with these women. We ignore them. We banish them to the shadow realm, and we stop putting sex workers on the forefront. We stop talking about the Kim K's. We start talking about the OnlyFans girls. We just stop. They don't exist
We let them go
anymore.
extinct. We let them go extinct.
We stop giving them attention. We stop giving them promotion. We stop giving them encouragement because they are beneath us. But the problem with our society is that instead of them being beneath us, they are now in the front. They are the loudest. They are making all the decisions. Kim K, I just sent Trigger Mike this on Instagram. Kim K was nominated by GQ Magazine as Man of the Year.
I can't even believe that.
Horrible, yo.
Man of the Year.
Are you serious?
This is a problem with our society. We keep pushing them to the forefront. And the only way to fix these problems is to start to ignore them. This is the reason why I have problems with podcasts like Fresh and Fit. I have a problem with podcasts because as much as they keep talking about they don't like sex workers, all they have on there is sex workers.
Yo, in corporate America right now, they are hiring black women that want to show their butts. And they have these problems, and they're putting them in leadership over the men. It's a tactic.
Right. That's why I got to the point that I got it. Like, not the point, but that's why I got to the way that I got when I first came on the panel. It has to be spiritual. Spirituality, God is the only thing that can save us at the end of the day.
No, I agree.
We have to figure out a way.
Where the
bring
hell has
God.
God been for the last 80 years, bro?
I disagree that I disagree that it's God that is going to save us. We have to save ourselves. It has nothing to do. No. Hold on, bro. It has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with God. I gotta tell you one thing that God did. Let me tell you why it doesn't have anything to do with God. God gave you wisdom so He can rest. If you're going to listen to me, then you'll be able to. You see, listen to understand. Just like we've been listening to you to understand. So what I'm trying to say is this: it has nothing to do with God, because guess what? God gave us wisdom so that God can rest. If you call God from here to tomorrow, if a woman doesn't want to listen to you, she's not going to listen to you. Just like Trey said. Trey said it 100% correct. We don't have to argue about it. In fact, we should shut down the program if it comes just left to me. But let me say this, bro. The only thing we can do as men is this. We have to understand. I'm sorry, the one thing that we can understand as men is this. There are men among us that would rather have women in the forefront than to have other men in the forefront with them. And these are the same people that own GQ. These are the same people that have started the LGBTQ movement. They don't want you there because you're too masculine for them. They don't want Trey there. They don't want me there. They don't want Trigger Mike there. You know who they want? They want somebody that they can be a friend with in the morning and control in the afternoon without pushback.
A real name. I was like, who name he about to say?
Yeah. No, they want controllable men. I mean, they don't even want men. They want simps.
That's what I said. They either want simps or they want women. They want somebody that can just not fight back, not speak back. That's what they want.
What I realize, y'all, is that this naturally, who is driving this with this whirlpool sound? All right, what? Goddamn, who is that? All right, what naturally?
No, that's not me. That's not me.
Oh, that's not you.
Yeah, everybody should mute up.
When you realize this war is against the upstanding heterosexual male, and the reason why is because the world gets passed down through us. Everything gets left to us, passed through us, and we get put to the forefront of everything. So in order to dominate or even create a space for you in themselves in society, the person they need to isolate, ostracize, and demonize is the functional, heterosexual, upstanding husband and father or father. That's who you got to take out in order to get this agenda. Because
the masculine men.
Yo, think about it exactly. The masculine men. Think about it. Where we exist, the matriarchy cannot, because this is what they're looking for. Every time there's a voting block that they need in order to win an election and push their agenda, they know that traditional family-oriented man is more conservative. Not by meaning he's not a Democrat, meaning he's more conservative in nature. You're not going to get much shit past him if it's going to ruin his family, like, you know, if it's going to ruin his family dynamic or put him in second, or basically ask him to put his woman in front and ahead of him. He knows that's not her position. He knows that's not how to set his family up for success. So he's never going to be with that. He's not going to be with drag shows in elementary school. So they got to take him out to get all of that going. You see what I'm saying? So I've noticed a long time ago, I got to be careful on a lot of fronts, because no matter who I think sides with me or is being buddy with me, the upstanding heterosexual male is the enemy to fluidity. Whatever you want to call it. Anything that seems fluid in nature that has no structure, I'm the enemy. I'm the person that person is trying to take out to push their agenda. So I want other men to be mindful of that.
Mike, can I let me take a real quick on what you just said, and you glossed over it. In order for heterosexual men who are somewhat conservative to actually change things, we have to leave the Democratic Party. We have to leave liberalism behind. And one more thing before anybody says something. This is the one nexus where black men have allies in white men.
Yes.
The white men who are being ostracized because they're men and masculine and want to take back leadership in conservative leadership over households, we have an absolute common interest with them if we needed to find that. And especially if we want votes. Yeah, but for us as black men, we absolutely have to divest from the Democratic Party.
And I was just about to say that, Mr.
Totally
Payne. I was
agree.
just about to say that because the reason I was just about to say that is because this white man I was working with, me and him had a full-blown conversation about this very topic. And for some odd reason, he thought that all black men thought like the LGBTQ black men they see on the news, like NBC News. And I'm like, no, those men do not represent us. Those men represent a certain section of black men and black feminist women that they want broadcast to the general public. What black men like us need to do is have our voices more exposed to the masses because they don't know we exist. That's the problem. The reason why the majority of conservative white men have a problem or an issue with so many black men is because they think we all think like them, and we don't think like them. We think more like them than they do.
Yep.
This is the issue. This is the disconnect. Like if the traditional masculine men of each race joined and formed like Voltron, it would be unstoppable. They could not do anything, but they have to keep us divided. They have to keep us divided with feminist women combating us on every level.
They use false narratives.
White men got their feminists, black men got their feminists.
Yep.
They use each other to go against us and to divide us so that we cannot have the power that we need in government to stop these crazy ass laws that they keep making.
Yep.
Like letting your sons become transgenders at the age of 12 and all this crazy crap. Man, I'm looking at this, man, like, yo, more black men just need to have the courage to speak up. A lot of dudes are scared out here, man. They scared to lose their jobs.
Oh my gosh.
They scared to speak up to they scared to check their women. And I'm just like, yo, look, Genghis Khan was not going out here scared of feminists. He was slaying motherfuckers.
I disagree.
All right, y'all. Let me get a super chat. Lord Commander,
real quick.
Lord Commander $5 says, "This is women's logic. If every woman has a large body count, then the men will have no choice but to select the 304." Jeez, and right. I'm glad. Look, I've never been more glad to be out the game, yo.
The ultimate goal is to get married, man. That's the ultimate goal, man. And it says in the Bible that when a man finds a wife,
smoking crack.
Nah, it's better to be married, man. Get out the game. This game is rigged.
I have a prediction because I think I've put this prediction on Jay Prince, Fatty, and now Trey. All these mothers gonna
don't
be
you
married
on Trey.
On Trey.
Don't you put that
Trey
evil on me.
Do
not put that marriage evil on me, Trigger Mike.
Mike, leave these guys in their wilderness, bro. Leave these guys in their wilderness.
They're gonna be like, yeah, man. I just had to do it, bro. She was the one.
I asked the school that I call him my son. He's not really my son, but I asked my son. They sent the permission slip home so they could have a transgender come and speak to them. I'm gonna get that permission slip, so I'm gonna give it to you so you can use it. It's one of the wildest things you've ever seen.
Wow.
Remember, I told you this is not a game. Like, people think this is a joke. This is what I say.
Listen,
this is what I say. We're movements that like the LGBTQIA plus community, whatever, where they beat the other movements. They understand. They don't worry about the adults. They don't give a damn about the adults. They're going after your kids. They go after your kids because your kids are more impressionable. And more adults have a tendency to learn more from their children than they do from other adults. So they start to go after kids. We're just with all these other movements where that's why I get so frustrated with us as adults. I'm like, why are we not talking to 9 to 18-year-olds? Why are we sitting here talking to 35-plus-year-olds? You can't do nothing with them. The glue has hardened with them. It's done. It's over. It's a wrap. We need to be talking to young kids and pushing this message to them because other groups and other movements, that's exactly what they're doing, and they're gaining traction. I know you guys saw the video, that where they were singing a song saying, "We coming for your kids, we coming for your
I
kids."
saw that.
This is not a joke. They are targeting kids. And when he handed me that, I looked at him and I wanted to tear it up, but if I tore it up, then that was almost like a by default. He could go. So I had to sign it and say no. And now what I wound up doing is he just didn't even go to school that day. The day they had the presentation, I didn't even let him go to school. But I'm gonna go get a copy of it. I'm gonna give it to you so you can see it because the verbiage they use is very interesting.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
Mike, I think a couple weeks back you had a show talking about children in school or how little boys are being targeted with teachers, and you talked about the ratio with women teachers versus male
Yeah.
teachers in elementary school. That whole breakdown, that is by design, right? All of these feminist women are over the children of America and pushing certain agendas. That is how our children are growing up with certain ideologies. Going back, I told you we have a 2-year-old and 7-month-old. When it came to picking and choosing a school and daycare, they go to the same location. We had an interview with administration, with the preschool. She made it very clear. My husband asked about discipline as far as our daughter was concerned. And she didn't bite her tongue. She didn't trip up. She said, "We believe that little boys are little boys and little girls are little girls. They do not act the same. They do not have the same energy. They aren't the same in classroom. So when it comes to discipline, we are patient with our boys. We talk to them in a different manner than we do with our girls." And that's all we needed to hear, because for some reason in 2023, boys are literally expected to behave and act exactly like little girls. They are not the same. We are not the same, and they're damn sure not the same at 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, in those critical years that I talked about earlier. That 0 to 4 is the most critical years of a child. And if our children are being targeted in their minds being shaped in a more liberal way, right? Less conservative, right? Not to speak and think as masculine, but to be softened, to always put girls in the forefront of the classroom, to always put girls in front of them, which is out of order of things. This is how we have gotten to where we are. So that's all we needed to hear when it came to picking the school that our children are in now. And I mean, I feel like that's where we are in society.
It's good to.
Malcolm
I'm
X
so
say
good to
only a
hear you
fool,
say that, because
only a fool lets
a
his
lot of
enemy
boys
raise
are being
king.
destroyed. I mean, young boys are being destroyed in those classrooms. And to top that off, they're giving them pills to calm them down, and they're going to be on these pills for the rest of their lives. Once they get hooked on them, because they don't act like little girls. And it's unbelievable what's going on.
It's an agenda.
Yeah.
It's almost like they have to suppress masculinity in society so we don't raise up and start a war. Like in other countries, I mean, you
It's a
remember a couple of
breaking
years ago in
mechanism.
Egypt?
It's a breaking mechanism of our little boys' soul, their
Exactly.
spirit, who they are. It's a way to discredit them before they even build up enough self-esteem to fully rise into a young man or a man in society. They're
So,
already broken before middle school.
Yeah,
but
there's no dignity. It's
also
like
look
they
at
take
your
away their
history.
dignity.
Also look at your history. This is what has happened with the ideology of feminism. Egyptian Empire, Roman Empire. Once you start to get into a feminist equality narrative, we think that it's two things moving at the same time, bringing women up to equalize against men. It's not, it's nothing ever, because women needed help to equalize against men. Biologically, they shouldn't have the same equality because you needed help. Because this is what happens. It's not an equal meter, it's a seesaw. When you play up women, you by default have to play down men. The women who did not, so Aristotle, I think it was, said The greatest injustice is making unequal things equal. And it's not saying that women aren't equal to us, it means women are not the same as us. So if you give them not only the same rights, the same power, they their psychology will now want to dominate you. Because men understand through our dominance, we have to exercise control. I am dominant over my wife. I'm physically more imposing. So let me tone my voice down so I don't yell. Like that's how I talk to my brother. Do it. Like, you see what I'm saying? But no, let me tone it down. Because I don't want her to do it because I said so. I want to do it because she wants to. So let me talk to her, not dominate her with words. You see what I'm saying? So we have to tone ourselves and our dominance down. Now switch the dynamic. If you give woman equality, if you say you're as big as me and as tall as me, is she going to have is she going to be able to regulate her quote unquote dominance? No, she was never. You see what I'm saying? It was given to her. She didn't earn or wasn't naturally gifted with the height, the tone of voice that you were. So that's why you see feminism out of control and suppressing men to gain more power, because it's the natural effect of giving them, the same everything as
Totally
men.
agree.
Is the natural,
and they know that, they know what you talking about, the seesaw effect. That's part of their agenda, man, and they just want to keep the men suppressed. And it's almost like the resurgence of Sodom and Gomorrah. They doing it all over again. All of these things are cyclical, and it's coming back, and here we are.
And they say humanity lives in cycles. Ain't that what they say?
There's nothing new under the sun.
Let me get this super chat, Big Ant, $10. Seeing people pray 5 times a day and then get up and fire an AK-47. I literally just seen a video like that. At me, is that God? A preacher sleeping with your wife? I've seen that before. Not my wife, God. But is that God? Leave me alone with your Bible that you pick and choose to stand on. All right, y'all. We're gonna get out of here. I got my kids home from school tomorrow, so they're gonna wake up early. So I gotta get to sleep. Goodness gracious, they home all week. This is gonna be interesting. But I appreciate everybody. Casey, I especially appreciate you for coming with you. Isn't it good to have actual femininity on the panel, fellas?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Isn't it like it's just refreshing. We thank you.
I really appreciate you guys for having me in this space. Like Trigger Mike, I really appreciate it. Honored.
No doubt. Anytime, you're welcome.
Good show,
Yeah, but before you guys go, I gotta say one thing. When a man cries out or say anything, other men have to come and defend him, no matter what. Because that's why some men won't speak out. That's why you see all these people tuning men out, shaming men. All these whatever they call them, destroying men's reputation, destroying men's job and the reason why men are not coming out to speak out is because manosphere is being shamed.
Exactly.
People are now denying that people are not denying that they are not part of manosphere because they don't want to be shamed.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You gotta be proud that you're part of manosphere. So that because if we are born together and speak with one voice, guess what is going to happen in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Your voice is a rolling lion. They will listen. And that's what is going on in Chicago now. Manosphere is speaking out and they're listening.
You just got to be proud to be a black man, period. And black men got to defend each other.
Oh, listen, I know it's happening slow, but it's happening. Society always corrects itself. Naturally, like you just see the rise naturally happening because, like you said, they're not only shaming, they're costing people their jobs. What's that guy? We Need to Talk. The black guy with the nice podcast said a job offer got rescinded from him because they found out about his podcast.
Wow.
I'm like, oh.
Yep.
Oh, how much more do you think men are going to take of this? He's like literally one of the most soft-spoken, objective.
That's what they do,
dudes. And they took his podcast. What the hell you think they're going to do to me?
Yep.
Yep. My brothers got to get their own cake before they start speaking up like this. You know the system against us.
And I urge women. There's other women like me. I urge you guys to start to speak up. because I have tons of women with my same point of view in my circle and friendship that I've grown up with or met recently. Get out there and start saying what needs to be said, because young women are listening. Young girls need to hear it. Young ladies need to hear it. It's imperative that they hear it. So don't be afraid to say what needs to be said.
It's almost like they don't want men to have free minds.
Let me
and they try to censor you. This is all up in the jobs right now. Everywhere you go, they got women taking quote unquote man jobs. They got all on the when you take a public transportation, wherever city you at, I'm sure they got like black female cops or black garbage drivers, garbage men, garbage women, black women construction workers, and it's like they're trying to take us out.
Hey, so let me answer this question real quick, because MS Best, this is a good one. Question is, what happens first, collapse or balancing back? The collapse has to happen. One of the interesting things that you'll see in this space, especially, is that anytime we start to shame anyone who has been fully immersed in this entire feminist male suppression agenda, they just want to get right to the solution. Nowhere in history has anybody trespassed against society, not followed orders, where you didn't have to suffer the consequences of those actions first.
Yep.
Suffering, the period. This is why I talk the way I do, because I'm talking with urgency to let you know the period of suffering is about to begin.
Yep.
All of your decisions. So remember, for every action, there is an equal but opposite reaction. That is not only true in the world of physics, it is true in the realm of social and human interaction. Everything that you have done, every time you neglected your child and left them so you could go to brunch, all the men in your life that you slept with and left and didn't take serious, somehow, some way, this will turn and have a negative effect in the latter part of your life. So if you're somewhere, what we call it, hitting the wall, if you're about to hit the wall, life is about to get real. There's about to be an economic collapse. Okay, because I'm looking at housing price. That's how I know, because I'm about trying to get a bigger house so my mother-in-law could move in. So I'm looking at housing. So I'm like, oh yeah, the economy is about to collapse. 201 days on the market. That was, you know, some of these houses, I was like, oh, the market's about to collapse. So we're about to have a housing collapse. AI is going to replace. Remember, I said women do jobs of luxury. Women tend to do jobs of luxury. Luxuries go in an economic collapse, and AI is going to be taking a lot of your jobs. Human capital. We are morally, in some of our social groups, we have a moral deficit. People just aren't good people anymore. They don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to deliver good customer service. Those are going to be the only valuable human beings on this earth. People that can talk to other people and elicit positive responses from them. Does that sound like any of the modern people you know? No. They all want to argue and do stuff like that. So we are about to see suffering to the lengths we have not seen it in our, well, Payne definitely seen it in his lifetime, but our lifetime, no, we haven't seen it. All right, so
that's exactly why I started my OnlyFans. I'm still gonna get paid one way or another.
We never suffered as divided. Like when we suffered together in slavery and everything. We never experienced this divided suffering. It's gonna be like we're gonna be having different experiences, man. Women are gonna be over here, men are gonna be over here, and it's gonna be an isolation going on. That is going to be.
You gotta embrace the divide. You gotta embrace the divide and side with those who side with you. It's as simple as that. And you can't stop it. You gotta embrace it. You gotta embrace it and accept those who side with you. Support the women who support you and discard the women who don't support you.
It's that's a word right there. Sanctification. I dare I say, it's going to happen. The battle lines are being drawn, and the sheep are being separated from the goats, so to speak.
I don't know what y'all talking about. These dudes gonna be out here saving these women because that's what they gonna do. That's exactly what they gonna do.
Those days are dying out, man.
And then they gonna hide behind the Bible and say the Bible told me to save these women, so they gonna save them.
No, those are the Jezebels, man. The Bible didn't tell us to be children of witches. The Bible says we got to for rich not to live.
Hold on, hang on. Are there more simps in this world or more masculine men? Which one?
Hold on.
There are more
There's
Dr.
definitely
Umars
no
in the
simp.
black community.
Let me
They
say
gonna
But
this.
that's
say
gonna
it.
change though. That's gonna
Fact.
change.
No,
Let me
it's
say this
not.
though, Trey.
These dudes are not going to become masculine overnight. It's
Trey,
not
Trey,
happening.
Not
think about it.
overnight. Not
Trey, think about
overnight.
it.
But they're gonna realize like, dad, these women never loved me.
So no, Trey, think about it. Think about it. The men will start saving women, but this was my ultimate point in the first place. The abundance of women in this country, like let's say for black men, aren't black anymore. So there are new. This is why I keep telling, like, if we want our women to get married, please adjust your behavior patterns now, because Carmelita's here and she doesn't have a passport. I'm sorry, she doesn't have citizenship, and all of these women are here. So an economic collapse also tends to make people understand what's important.
Yep.
Oh shit, I need to get a man, I need to get a husband. So now the instead of men seeking women, it's going to be women seeking men. And now what is the modern black woman's competition? It ain't just her sister or her mom. It's women of all different ethnic groups that came into this country illegally, willing to serve your man, stay in the house, and do whatever the hell he say. So this is gonna be interesting.
I think
That's
you
in
guys,
Isaiah
I
chapter
think
4.
you guys,
Isaiah chapter 4 right there.
I think you guys are a little bit out of touch. I think you guys think optimistically and hopefully. And you think that this is how these women are thinking, and I vehemently disagree. These women are willing to die on this hill. They were willing to die on this hill. They are willing to die on this. I'll be single for the rest of my life hill because the men ain't this and the men ain't that. They are willing to live
You know
there.
what?
They
You
don't
know what?
care.
Trey's right.
Men are
Trey's
also
right.
willing to die.
No, wait, hold on.
They don't care. They don't care if she's Afro-Colombian. They
So
don't care if
here's
she's
where
Afro-Brazilian. They don't care if she's Afro anything. They are
here's where I
willing to
disagree.
stay there. You guys keep
Hold on,
ignoring
Trey.
that.
Hold on, Trey. You are right. You are right if the infrastructure stays the same. They are willing to die on this hill as long as they make their own money. They're willing to die on the. That's what I'm saying. When those opportunities get taken away from them, they will recognize that they are women, and then the
Trigger, Mike. OnlyFans
nature
made
cycle.
$5.6 billion last year. There will
Say it
always
again?
be money. OnlyFans made $5.6 billion last year.
And
There will
what
always
is
be an
okay,
opportunity
hold on, y'all.
for them to
And
make
what
money.
is the percentage of women that make a livable wage on
They
OnlyFans?
don't. Jesus Christ! You guys have got to stop. You have to think more. They don't care. That's the point I'm trying to get you guys to understand. Yes, we know that the average is $200 a month. We know that. They don't.
Well,
They
I'm
don't
saying,
care
Trey,
about
they
facts.
can't live
They
off
care
that.
about
They can't
feeling.
live off
They don't
But Mike,
care.
No,
Trey's
but
correct.
they will learn
Man.
the hard
Listen,
way. They're gonna learn the hard way. It's not gonna take
Mike,
long.
Mike, you're thinking idealistically. Trey is telling you that the women are willing to jeopardize everything for their stupidity. A lot of them are. And yeah, we already know the numbers, but a lot of women don't do the numbers. They're doing emotions. They're doing the things that they want. And whether it's good for them or bad for them. And sometimes they got to learn on their own. I like what Casey said. I mean, if you know more women who are like-minded like you need to invite them to the Trigger Mike show. We need those women to come out and start speaking, because the one thing I don't agree with Trey is that there's no virtuous women left. That's not true.
Point them out.
It's not true. I don't believe it.
Trey,
I don't believe it.
both my little brother is about to get married in March, and his wife is absolutely amazing, or soon to be wife is absolutely amazing.
But
she's
no,
she's
we
32.
know what Trey's problem is. We know what Trey's problem is.
Well, he might think that most women that even act like that are chameleons.
No,
and
no,
you have to.
It's the problem of most. It's the problem of actually the modern man is where we're hunting, or where modern men hunt naturally. No, you see what I'm saying? The most attractive, the most appealing women are. It's very easy to get sucked into the venues in which they frequent. If I was still dating, I'd likely be doing the same thing most of the time. But you won't. I know for a fact I'm not finding wifey material here. And I think what ends up happening is because not only do these women have vaginas, obviously, some of them have personalities. Some of and then you just kind of end up falling in love, and you're doing that trick that we tell women not to do, which is before you hit the box, make sure you vet for the actual morals and qualities and values of a good wife. And we will default to, man, these hoes ain't no good, they ain't marriage material, but we weren't looking in the right place to begin with.
And let me say this: Hey, Trey, if you check Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1, it says it right there. What's going to happen? These women are going to be, it's going to be 7 women to 1
I'm
man.
so tired of y'all, bro.
No,
You
haven't
guys
seen
have been
nobody
holding on to
represented
your
right.
Bible
You
the
haven't seen
Oh
nobody
entire
man!
time. I don't
represented right.
want to hear that shit.
All right,
I don't
y'all.
wanna hear it.
Y'all about you asked Trey to reference the Bible. Oh man, you know that was it. All right, man. Listen, we got to get out of here. Appreciate y'all, man. I'm gonna try to get on tomorrow. I gotta go pick up some gun parts. My kids got a dentist appointment in the morning. So yeah, we might do the Trigger Mike show tomorrow night, as a matter of fact. So stay tuned for that. Thank y'all for coming through, man. Make sure you get that Assured Man Naturals beard oil, 15% off your pre-order for when that does go live. So good Christmas present idea right there. And also shout out to the sponsor, Tish Hanley, uncomplicated skincare for men. Check the description for the link. All right, y'all. This was a great topic. Thanks to everybody for coming through. KCB, Miss Polly, y'all are always welcome. Love to have that type of femininity on the panel. We out, and we'll see you on the next one, y'all. Y'all have a good night. Go to sleep. I know other people are on. Go ahead and support your YouTubers. Support them. Watch their show. We out. See you next time.